We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. The program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you, Kamoji, as always, for reminding me to unmute. You can already hear it in the background. Let's see here. Whoops, that was spoilers. So I wasn't sure what I was going to, really watch today. I knew I wanted to catch up on some things, like Egad's. I was going to watch the next Influencer Grift project. Is it... Oh, it actually went back in here. And trying to, figure out what's going on. So I was just going to do a chill stream playing Ostranauts, or Ostranauts, I should say. But then I saw like a video. I think I just the Anthea Gramulia one. I kind of have to watch, but there's another video by this guy that and I think it's the strawberry video. Does women's body count matter? A discussion with a VTuber. We might watch his other video later, maybe, or we might watch it Saturday if there's nothing else on. But I'm definitely watching this one. First, we're gonna get started with Astronauts, because I'm just gonna start a fresh game and play through it in the background while we do stream. I need to start getting consistent with my gaming. I always need to get consistent. But yeah. So there we are. Actually, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna start the music again real quick.
We gotta find now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find That's the first clue. We gotta find that's the first clue. That's the first clue.
Oh, we are back. There we go. So if you've never played Ostranauts, it is a very interesting game. It's basically a life simulator where you play a dude who's heavily in debt, who is wrecking ships for a living. You start off making your character where you go from like 19 to whatever age you feel is necessary. And then from there you get your first ship, you get hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and you start going out into space, breaking ships and everything like that. It's trying to be as realistic as possible with the way it does the game. Like you have to pay attention to all of the systems, oxygen, your gear, battery power, just about anything you could think of. You can even build a nuclear reactor. And as you see, with the first character that comes up, yeah, it's gonna be great. This is woke. Oh, I've seen a YouTuber play this game. It's pretty unforgiving. Yes, the bisexual hair. It is a very unforgiving game. I've played only about 20 hours of it. I've wanted to get deeper because it very much tries to do its best to be as hard science as it can, right? Now, we're not going to be whatever this is, but you can, like, there we go. Beautiful. Oh God, I almost want to keep it. What should we name this beauty right here? It has that deep simulation type of unforgiveness. Yeah, it's definitely very, very deep simulation. It doesn't take much to make a mistake. I was playing it a little earlier and I hadn't played in a while, and I got to going too fast and forgot, yeah, you can't slow down easily, and I crashed right into the space station and died. So is this what we're gonna keep? I mean, we've been talking about bisexual lighting a lot. We got to change the eyes at least. No, I like the droopiness, but I mean the color. Like we need a color. There are no handbrakes in space. Nope. Physics is unforgiving. Oh, are we gonna go with the evil demon eyes? Kamoji, I saw something today that said we've been friends now on Discord for over a year. I didn't even realize it had been that long since I met you. Bisexual lighting on the brain, I see. This is what spawned. This wasn't me. This wasn't me. I guess we are going to be a they, them. And of course, since it's bisexual lighting, we have to like everybody. I didn't do this though. The game randomized this for me, so it's kind of like it's meant to be. I do want a colored beard though. I'm not an old they. Where do we go? Oh, there we go. There we go. I like that. Little blonde-haired bisexual lighting. This is going to be great. So once you go from here, this is your character creator, right? What I love about the character creation in this game, yeah, it's been a year already, Kamoji. That means I've been streaming like probably just a little over a year and a half, maybe. I don't even remember what day I first began, because I was streaming for a couple of months before we met. And I actually started getting subscribers. Speaking of which, if you just got in, go ahead and like the stream. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, or wait until you see if you enjoy the show. This beauty, Handel, I gotta think of a good name for this one. Shardell. Anyone got anything? I'm terrible with names. What's a good trans name? Or I guess we're bisexual, so I don't think we need a trans name. We're just having our best time, right? Kind of looks like a post-transition Asman. Oh, yeah. It kind of does. So what? As by gold. As by gold. We'll go with that. We're going to go with as by gold. So we go done. Now, the way you decide your character, because it is very much a life sim, you just turned 18. As by gold just turned 18 years old. And they are, because we're going to use proper pronouns, they decided that they're going to make it in the world. They now have to make it. They live on a shitty site where they break ships for a living, right? My biological father kind of looks a little gay, and my biological mother looks like she might have married him for that. So is Jackson Ido criminal, and my mother Cassidy was a manager from Fort Simpson, Ganymede. He's from Virginia Titan. So a manager and a criminal. We got a great upbringing starting out so far. So let's get into this. Boom, boom, boom. Let's hit OK. First thing I always like to do with this game is basically what we're going to do is we're going to pass by the years of our lives doing things, and there's a variety of things you can do that'll upgrade your character, change things about them. Like this, we're going in and we want to, every criminal needs a manager to manage the money. That's true. That's true. They couldn't get her on the tax fraud. She was too good. But dad was a criminal through and through. So I feel like I shouldn't have a spaceship engineering education. I feel like I just have no education at all, and we'll see what life brings me. Now, with that, I can fix some things. Like, I'm an insomniac. Should I keep that? Immunosuppressed. Feeble. Yeah, we're going to get rid of feeble at least. And fragile. And that puts us at 0 years that are going to pass while we're doing this. I at least don't want to be visually impaired. But then we can also go through here. If you haven't noticed, the years are added by the pips. So like fit would take 3 years forward, where if I put vengeful on there, it would take it 1 year back. So I mean, yeah, we're definitely taking the ugly trait because we don't want no hot women in our games, right? Then it's kind of like how Project Zomboid has you balance good and bad traits. Yeah, it very much is. And like, you could go through here and spend your whole lifetime, because there really doesn't seem to be a limit, except for death, of how long you take your character through the tutorial or through this character creation. So I kind of want to. I usually go around close to 30 before I get my own ship, but we'll see. We're a glutton. We frequently overindulge. We're a pushover. Suspicious. You are distrustful of people. That sounds right. We're distrustful of people. Pessimist. Well, of course, we're negative about everything. That's going to give us negative 2 years. What do we want to do with that? I think we're going to have a little bit of a gambling addiction. I also think that we should be a smoker. Certain traits are mutually exclusive with each other. Yeah, very much so. Like selfish and selfless, or selfish and selfless. If I pick selfish, you can't pick selfless anymore. You have to remove it. So I got -2. So we need to do something. We're not a leader. We're not kind. Anything. We're not going to have an education. I don't want to do hacking yet. We'll do gambling. Street etiquette, I think, will be something we need. Cooking. I don't need cooking yet. They've also recently had an update, so they added a lot of other stuff to it, like ship combat. I can't imagine, like, knowing how hard this game is just to play naturally. I couldn't imagine also trying to fly and shoot my guns at people. Tidy, strong. I think we're going to be strong. We're not smart, but we're strong. And then we're going to apply those, and now we're 19 years old. So you have a couple of options. One, we were just in tweak the skills. You can take a year and save some money. And then this is our resume of who we are. 19. We're from our home world is the name of this station. K-Leg is what I always hear it referred to. We're near Ganymede. We're youthful. We're attracted to men. We're attracted to non-binary people. We're attracted to women. We're a pessimist. Micro G, hypovolic. We're not good in, like, we have low blood. Immunosuppressed. We're an insomniac. We have a slow metabolism. Sharp hearing. We're strong. We're ugly. We're unfit. And we're a smoker. The first bisexual hair, now K-Mid is there. That's right. Well, it's just his leg, right? It's just his leg. And then our skills right now are street etiquette, skilled in gambling, skilled at 0G. What most of the time you're going to want to pick is live life and gain experience, because it goes by some time and then you have a situation that comes up, right? Midway through scrapping yet another hulk, the cockpit of your allocated salvage pod lights up with red telltales. Suddenly, you're under thrust as one of the engines sends you spiraling away from the hulk's orbit into the black. It's unresponsive and nobody has fuel to come save you. You're expendable. If you want to live, it's up to you. So now you can make choices and they'll give different things, like hack the engine could give you the hacking skill. Troubleshooting engine could be more engineering. Take the stick, piloting, jury rigging could be something else, but that might be electrical or something like that. I'm going to try hack it. The old engines are full of software vulnerabilities. You've known this ever since an exploratory dive, but never had you considered trying to exploit them under 3 Gs of thrust. Suddenly, a connection request appears to your portal. Tech support here draws the cowboy hacker under whom you've been studying. What seems to be the problem? Together, you smash the stack on the engine, trigger a reboot. Crisis averted, you start to burn back to the Hulk. The unauthorized leave and fuel expenses are docked for your pay, of course. So now we have a new contact, a criminal. He's on the same station that I'm at, the guy who was training me, and I gained the skills hacking and genius. I'm now a genius. So let's see. Once we get through this and we start playing, we're going to pull up some videos and watch some videos too. So let's see. We're going to do that again, because now we'll be turning 21. She's a real beauty. The Testudo Heavy Lifter 448. And it's with a confusing mix of honor and dismay that you're contracted to take her apart. On day 4 of the break, you're welding through a wall compartment when something catches your eye. You snap off the torch and take a closer look. Your breath catches at the sight. A mirror intake regulator, the apex of the defunct company's technical achievements. Today, one of the rarest aftermarket parts in the game. It's popular on other markets too. Maybe, Aotimiwa? Don't need to know about this. Let's try and smuggle it through the black market. I think we're a criminal. Alright, I got 200 gold for it. I have a new contact in the criminal organization. And I have a new enemy, Sophia Walter, who's a law enforcement officer. It's all too simple. Strip the part, hide the RFID tag amidst the wreckage, chunk it into the garbage sled. When the sled reaches overflow processing, the junkyard of junkyards, as the locals would have it, someone sufficiently bribed will find the part, remove it, edit the log, and reroute it back into the hands of one of K-Leg's many fences. You get a finder's fee and a fortnight of pertinent paranoia, which soon subsides. Such is life. So I didn't get caught, and I made a little bit of money. Now we're 21. Let's keep going. You are approached by a coworker who has developed a less than legal method for making cash on the side. Apparently, they have been tagging high-value salvage as junk in the system for the last 6 weeks. After the false tag, they leave in the part aboard the derelict and sell the location to the highest bidder. This scheme always involves the complicity of the breaker doing the final sweep, and today that happens to be you. The piece in question is a busted reactor, and you know it'll fetch a pretty penny on the black market. That's a big take if you can pull it off, but there are risks. We're going to take the risk, even though this could go bad. The plan is a good one, and you're happy to be aboard. You play lookout for a few weeks and make money in the process. You clocked the ringleader as a straight shooter, so you shocked when AOSEC comes knocking at your dorm door one night. According to them, you've been orchestrating a theft and smuggling ring. It's your word against theirs in the brief trial. And they're already dimmed out the rest of the crew. You're sentenced to time in the brig. Time to harden up. So now I know some more criminal guys, law enforcement, a shipbreaker, a criminal, and another criminal. We are making friends right now. So we actually had 4 years in prison for that. That's not good. I don't have much money at all. What is going on here? Let's see here. Hulks of blackened metal loom around you. You ride the labor barge out to the boneyard, and the barge is so overloaded today. You've seen some of you clinging to the cargo web full of locked crates. Crates with emergency supplies they'll no doubt deduct from your pay if you dare to have an accident. But the armed guard's back is turned. Let's hack the lock. The cases have friend's mom would not have approved. True. You try a script you've been working on to hack the pen. The flash screen and the puff of the signal is a success, enticing silent fist pumps and wide smiles with the neighboring laborers. Still didn't have it yet. I'm going to stop and save a little money because I have none. And then we'll do this one more time. Oh, here we go. When all's said and done, shipbreaking and scavenging and hustling is a grind. What was once dangerous eventually becomes monotonous. This just so happens to be the phase of your life for which, looking back, you can't remember any interesting events at all. The only thing noteworthy about this particular period of back-breaking 100-hour weeks is what you started doing to cope. How do you deal with the boredom? We could do a fight club. We could go ship spotting, suit maintenance, watch old movies. I think I'm going to get an electrician's gig. Sounds like something low income would do. Propelled by the intoxicating blend of pride and masochism, you find yourself taking a second gig in an entry-level maintenance. Your job officially is to ensure the working condition of consumer-facing assets, but your new coworkers are quick to inform you that what you've actually become is the kiosk bitch. Funny with Smash attacking Halo this week, I happen to find Reach and 3 ODS at a neighborhood garage sale for $2. Nice, Mike, nice. The humble kiosk OKJLG is littered with them. The Royal Red Van Burn Pharma, the Lime and Gray Gig Nexus, the burnt orange of the refuel station. It's not lost on you that in the early days of the colonization rush, these must have been manned jobs, each providing a salary healthy enough to keep at least one spacer housed and fed. But why pay a spacer for what a screen can accomplish twice as fast? Plus, you don't have to give a kiosk their death pay bonus after the screen is inevitably smashed to bits by a drunken revelers in the OE. At first, the job doesn't offer much in the way of excitement. Faulty buy button on a pharma box at Nonco Marina. Refuel kiosk in the port as a stuck slider. Admin reset. Gig Nexus at Estates has a screen flicker. Hard Smack does it. But soon enough, you discover a strange aptitude for electrical maintenance. Circuit boards begin to present to you as cities in miniature, the copper traces running like little tiny roadways. LED diodes flashing like traffic lights beneath the capacitors, looming like the apartment scrapes on Theris Landing. The gig doesn't last, but your fascination does. Now, every time you pass a kiosk, you can't help but press your face against the vents just to get a quick look at the little world. All right. Who is it? Jean Charlotte? I don't recognize the name, but I probably will recognize the face. No. Oh, American journalist and critic. No shit. Television personality, book critic. Yeah, famous movie critic. I recognize the face. That's crazy. I mean, he looks old as fuck, so that makes sense. That sucks. But 'tis life. Boom. All right, now from here, we decide I've got 2 years to 30, so we're going to try and find a ship. We'll happen across an ad for a heavy used Hiyoko 276A endurance salvage pod. It's a salvage pod. There's not much there, but maneuvering jets, life support, but it can fly. The endurance model of the TU was built for long-range salvage operations, and so is equipped with a bed and wash facilities. Oh. The one for purchase is in rough shape, however, and would require some serious elbow grease to bring it back to form. The vessel has an OSR of moderate, indicating that it is legal for sale, but does not possess ship systems beyond basic travel and life support. I actually kind of like that idea if it's already got a bed. I don't really need a bed, though. I don't really need a bed. 800,000. Let's go back, continue our career, and try one more time. Ugh, this one sucks more, but it'll work. We can do it one more time. This one's much smaller. Salvage tax levied at the ship transport. K-Leg Boneyard. A 277A salvage pod. It's a little more than a tin can. Yeah, we got one more. One more. Ship seeking. Oh, there we go. I like this one. This one's a little transport. A Testudo Dream. It's a small shuttlecraft used to ferry passengers into local spaces. It's not pretty, but it has life support thrusters and a few jump ships. It's modern as well. We're going to take this ship. $862,000 that we're going into debt for this ship. Boom. And let's go. I gotta shut off. Okay, it is gonna just no. We're gonna shut off this. Goals, settings. There we go. Because I know what I'm doing. And this is the game, pretty much. You've got the space station. Over here is our ship. I don't believe we can come back to this room after we leave. But you go around, and this is our beautiful character. Our beautiful character. Now turn off the ship navigation and go commit illegal salvaging. Yes! We're going to see what we can do. We're going to see what we can do. All right. So, we're going to equip that. It's dirty, too. Put our shoes on. Like we got some food in our pocket. A little food. Or a little water. I'll toggle the power on so we can see. A lot of this, too, is like, this is the details of it. All this power conduit leads to the lights, leads into the rest of the system, and it'll do the same on our ship. Let's see what food we got, if there's any in here. Nothing there. Inventory. This is going to be our EV suit. Where we'll put that. This game is very much about managing storage, too. Let's look in the bins. What do we got in the bins? Nothing in that one. What is that? Oh, a t-shirt. It looks like it's better than our t-shirt. It looks like it's better than our t-shirt. Oh yeah, we're keeping that one. Looks close enough to anime weeb. Oh, there we go. Boop. Put that back over. I'm not sure if clothing does anything yet. I know you can have relationships and you can talk to people and flirt and all of that. I don't know how deep it goes. Nothing in that bin. We have a table. Did I check this one? Let's check this one. What is this? Hygiene pack. Standard consumable. All right, I'll take a hygiene pack. What's this? Work safety? Don't care. We're gonna pick this up. Boop. Because this is gonna have our tools to start out with. I don't have a lot of money, but I might see about buying a few. All right. The door to K-Leg Station slides open, and you're greeted by the familiar aroma of station vendor fare, spotted prawn stir fry in suya curry. Kebab of chicken in a yaji spice rub. There's so much like Asian, and I'm so terrible at pronouncing Asian stuff. Aquaponic and lab grown or worse, but your heart tells you that anything prepared by human hands is better than Trencher's chow. Tired looking spacers circulate between the bunks, the refueling kiosks, and the brake yard, moving in and out of the gossamer haze of cigarette smoke that is a permanent fixture on the station. The smokes are Sergeant Viceroy, the breaker brand of choice. Folks here will chain smoke them unfiltered no matter how many times execs find them for overworking the CO2 scrubbers. Your new ship is waiting in the port, not far from the kiosk hub and scrap shoes. Once you find it, you can finally undock from this rock. If you want to strip ships for salvage, all you need are the hand tools you own. But you'll need a welder to start remodeling and repairing hulls. Either way, if you're lucky, you can finally start making a living. Something beyond the corporate-sponsored rat race of breaking ships for daily wage. A life you can call your own. And there we are. What is it? What do you mean? Boom, boom, boom. So we're going to go this way. Because I know a crowbar is here. So, a little metagame stuff. I don't think there's anything behind this. Access lock. No power. Okay, not worried about that. Boom, boom, boom. But if we go this way, this is the space station. There are places that we can come back here and rest sometimes. That room isn't ours anymore, though. What did I do that for? Let's do install. So the goal is to get our ship up and running so that we can do deeper travel and go to other systems. Because this game, I believe, has the whole solar system in it. I know it has a ton. Oh, damn, I got 9 times installing. Yeah, that's right. We go in here. Inventory. Oh, look at that. A welder. Welders and things like that take batteries. So the charge on this battery is 100, but I eventually will have to get a battery charger or use the charger, the public charger here on the station. Is this where I go? Am I just lost now? Dun, 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 dun. Food kiosks, supplies. Let's go over here because I'm gonna go ahead and break some shit apart. And this is our beauty. First thing we're going to do is restore this guy. Because they want you to. Oh yeah, I can take notes. Yeah, you're going to want to take notes in this game sometimes, where things are that you might want to keep. All right, so that's done. I'm also going to break these up. We're going to uninstall the... Whoops. No, no, no. Oh, Jesus. That's other ships. Not that. Other ships coming within range of us. Clear it. That guy right there is alerting us to that guy. You want to see how big the map is? Yeah. That's how big the map is. You can just keep going. I don't know if you can travel to all of these yet. I doubt you would be able to get the food to salvage to go to most of them. But this is where we are at this little point of reference is Ganymede. You can travel quite far, actually. Yeah, I know you can. I just don't know that you can travel everywhere. Like, you're going to obviously be limited. Once you get nuclear power, you don't have to worry about fuel as much, but you're going to be limited by food, water, oxygen, things like that, too. So it's very interesting because you have to have it all set up or you end up dying. Yeah, we're uninstalling all of these. Let's speed up time. God damn. I am bad at uninstalling things. While he's doing that as well, I can actually set, hold on, they've got some automation. Zone. Where is it? Nope, I don't need a zone yet. Well, don't need that. Tasks. It's not tasks. Uninstall. Is it tasks? Oh, orders. That's what it is. Order. Uninstall that guy and that guy. No, just... I don't know what that is. Hold on. Or maybe it's... We'll try it. I may fuck something up, kill myself. We'll see. So, we'll go ahead and take a look at one of the videos that I wanted to listen to while we're going through and doing all that. I can turn this down a little bit. We don't have to have that on 16. We'll do ×4 for now. Boop. Whoops, wrong one. Boom. So I've said I was going to watch this video for a little bit. I'm actually going to change the stream name. Edit. Egad tackles God of War Laundry. Boom. There we go. So he made this one. He's like the next influencer grift project, which is pretty true. The anti-wokers have been attacking it pretty hard. I said I was going to listen to it like a couple of times, so I'm going to listen to this one. We might also go back and watch one with the video that Simon made on female... or it's like it's not OnlyFans, the other site, and drama. So I want to take a look at that too and see what's going on there. Just kind of catching up on things that I've seen in Feed the Pig and go from there. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We'll speed that up. Let's put this up in the top. One day I'll get the buttons right. And let's play.
Good day, fellow Chuds. And now we're going to be talking about Alanna Pierce and that strange new God of War title, La Fey. More than likely, all the anti-woke are bandwagoning that talking point right now.
Why is there blood
Now go
all over the
ahead,
floor?
look up her
Hold on,
history.
Hold on. What the fuck just happened? What did I do? Oh, I broke. All right, the ship's leaking. We're gonna load back in one here. Oh, do I not even have a save yet? Don't tell me I already fucked all this up. All right, bear with me. Bear with me. I've already fucked it up. All right. Oh, I gotta take off that stupid. There we go. The shirt blocks it? What do you mean the shirt blocks it? I've never had to... Let's get completely naked. Oh, shoes. It's not the shirt. It's the shoes. It's the shoes. I always forget about the shoes. I don't even know why I put them on. Because you immediately take them off for this thing. All right. Let's go back in here and see what we fucked up. I'm going to have to turn this off so I don't lose all of my oxygen since we're breathing. What are you doing? Come on. At least it's not realistic enough for the woke thing to implode, right? The whole thing to implode, right? Yeah. All right. Oh, I also have to give myself permissions, don't I? All right, let's... Don't come in here, bud. Oh, he's maintaining that portion of it. Okay. This is gonna be fucked. Let's close. Let's turn off. Control panel. Off. Thank you, alarm. Thank you. Control panel. Thank you. Off. There we go. There we go. Now let's figure what I did. So let's pick this up, move this out of the fucking way. Let me guess. I removed the floor paneling too. Yep. That's what this whole thing was. So we need to cancel that task. All right. All right. We're going to put you right there for now. Where did... Let me guess. That panel is just fucking gone now. Okay. Where did the panel go? Do I need to go buy a floor panel? All right, let's go here. Pass. Files. No. Yeah, orders. You see how easy it is to just fuck shit up in here? Alright, while I'm doing this, let's listen to the Egad.
Find out how she became a journalist. But if you want a brief rundown about the things that you should know, Alanna Pierce achieved a wide presence around 2015 when she secured a role at IGN as Choice and Culture Editor. And that was before she eventually rose to producer and host. Sometime later in 2018, she moved to Rooster
I should have taken off the floors,
Inside Gaming and appearing in Funhouse videos and building a visible personal brand across YouTube and streaming alike.
This is the first time I've actually used the orders.
In November 2020, she joined Sony Santa Monica Studio as a junior video game writer.
So I forgot this was also about Alanna Pierce. Let's start over. I don't want to short.
Good day, fellow Chuds. And now we're going to be talking about Alanna Pierce and that strange new God of War title, La Fey. More than likely, all the anti-woke are bandwagoning that talking point right now. Now go ahead,
roster
look up her
permit-
history,
permissions.
find out how she
Roster,
became a
that's right,
journalist.
that's right.
But if you want a
Roster,
brief rundown about the things that
open
you
air
should
locks.
know, Alana Pierce achieved a wide presence around 2015 when she secured a role at IGN as Choice and Culture Editor, and that was before she eventually rose to producer and host. Sometime later in 2018, she moved to Rooster Teeth, co-hosting Inside Gaming and
I didn't
appearing
know she
in
was in
Funhouse
Rooster Teeth.
videos, and building a visible personal brand across YouTube and streaming alike. And then in November 2020, she joined Sony Santa Monica Studio
Oh, is
as a
it? Hold
junior video game writer, before eventually departing in late 2024 after contributing to some major projects. So what's the pipeline here?
Okay, here, let me
what
do this.
achievement propelled this trajectory?
All right,
what
this should be
exactly did
better.
Alana do to earn her entry into one of gaming's most hallowed studios?
Yeah, I
Home to
said,
the
like I
God
said,
of War
she's
saga. Well, in this day and age, she owes all her success to the hybrid influencer creator profile that studios increasingly prize in an era of brand synergy and all this public-facing development.
Parts.
Even so, this whole leap from games journalism and entertainment hosting to narrative architect on a flagship franchise invites the
Might as well
imperative.
buy these.
Name the substance. By what vocation does one traverse so swiftly from reviewing video games to then making new video games for millions of people? We have what appears to be a revolving door between ostensible games journalism, whose calling does demand a measure of critical distance and objectivity, only to find out that this journalist has gone into the inner sanctum of game development itself. How does a figure who once reported on the industry, shaping public perception about its products, suddenly become the shaper of those very products?
Despite claiming that she has consulted on 3 games and written for 2 prior to this, I haven't been able to find any evidence of any previous writing credits, and these are the only ones publicly listed on IMDb after starting her work at Sony Santa Monica. Wikipedia links to this same article, so at the time of writing this, her claims to prior work is essentially hearsay. This is in addition to her voice acting credits in Gears of War 5, After Party, and Cyberpunk 2077 following her departure from IGN. There are no acting credits listed prior to this. Like her previous claims to consulting and/or writing for 5 games, which there is currently no evidence of, she also claimed to have worked as a writer during her 4 years at the studio.
Hi, I'm Alana, and I'm a video game writer at Sony Santa Monica.
At the time of writing this video, Alana Pierce does not have a single publicly available writing credit on any game to date. By now, the point should be clear. It is one thing for media personalities to move between outlets. This is not unheard of and, if anything, encouraged, given how tightly knit the media circuit is and moving in the same circles. It is another thing entirely to use your role as a games media personality or streamer or highbrow critic to strong-arm your way into the industry through connections, bias, and ultimately nepotism. Jonathan Dornbrush, Kevin Van Ord, and Alana Pierce are only a few examples of the cronyism that exists within games media, where personalities are awarded with developer or studio roles, while actual developers with real, tangible experience are not.
It makes a lot of sense, and it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the problem with that, especially if she's not showing anything. Like, usually writers are, I mean, most artists in some form or another are very, very, you know, they show their work, right? You want the rest of the industry to see your work, to know what you are in and what you did, at some, you know, in some fashion to help you get hired for new jobs, right? But as we've seen, like, I've seen, you know, a little clip from her, from Alana, that's basically her saying, like, yeah, I was a Nepo baby. Like, I just knew people and they were like, I want you to work for us. And it seems like there may have been like some simps that were just wanting to take her on, right? Here, I can probably turn this down a little bit too.
Benefits everyone involved, right? Yeah? if the journo is going to potentially have a retirement path or an escape pod into the games industry itself, that's good for them, upward mobility. And then if the industry leaves that path open to them,
I'm gonna try and buy this one more time.
They're going to get better coverage, right? They're going to have a lot of journalists biased.
Simping
simply by
ain't
the potential
easy.
to be sucked up into the industry itself instead of covering it. Makes all the sense in the world. Unfortunately.
But of course, her transition begs the question: what networks of acquaintance, what ideological alignment, or
There it
institutional
is.
favor does the critic cross into the creator's chamber without the public scrutiny even once, demanding answers?
My first 2 voice acting roles were offered to me because I did podcasts at IGN that were like fairly beloved, and a lot of people in the industry listened to them. And I would just like occasionally do a stupid voice on them. And so I just, we had game directors who were listening to those shows who just kind of ended up liking my content. And I was approached completely out of the blue by Rod Ferguson on Gears of War. And he just said, he pulled me aside at E3 and was like, hey, can we go get coffee? And I was like, okay. And I assumed he was going to I don't know, tell me about some game or something. I was still a journalist. And he was like, I want you to voice a character in Gears of War. And I was like, what? It wasn't even a thing that I had considered at that time. So that's how I got my first voice acting.
That's so it's crazy to me because there's hundreds of professional voice actors, right? She didn't apply for the job. She didn't, she didn't go, God, words are so hard. She didn't go try and get the job. Some guy that she knew was just like, I like your content. You're going to be a character in my show. Now, if someone's like I understand when you pull some big movie star or something like that, they already have a whole list of things behind them. Or, for a particular movie, they might pull in influencers by their name. Yeah, we're watching Egad. But to just be it was supposed to be on the stream from last night. We didn't get to it. But to be oh, you're how am I suffering from hypoxia again? Okay, let's get this back on. To be oh, well, I just like your content, so I want you. There we go, getting the pressure back on. Let's get the alarm control panel. There we go. Let's get that back on. And then oxygen is starting to go back up. We have no nitrogen though. So, oh, did I leak all the, no, that's 100%. What I'm playing is, this is Astronaut. And yeah, you could almost say it's similar. It's a single player version of that game in a way. You play, it's also more like a life sim. You can talk to people, you build relationships, you get contacts. You don't have to do any of that though. But the main game is you go through your life, and then eventually you buy your own ship and go out and start breaking ships out on the fringes of Ganymede. And you can buy new ships, or you can expand your ship. It's super detailed too. All the wiring. I actually removed a piece of flooring by accident and nearly killed myself as all the oxygen escaped from my cabin. And I just fixed that. So we're back in business now. I don't think I have enough nitrogen. I don't know what I'm supposed to have nitrogen wise for it. Right? I think it's too much oxygen and it's gonna kill me. Has air pressure the same as humans. Okay, so we're good. We're good, right? But yeah, I've got my battery, my power. I'm actually gonna remove this sucker. We don't need that. Uninstall. Hopefully without removing flooring. Yeah, I was trying to remove these seats to sell them because I don't need them. I can put scrap here. And if you go here, I am currently, my net profit is 1,766. What are they? Oh, do I owe money? Yeah, I owe $900. Trade floor loose Mosquito -20. Okay, so we don't want to pay everybody. We're not, that's already taken care of, it looks like. Okay. So yeah, you're trying to make your own way, essentially. You can get you can get to the point that you actually are running like a nuclear reactor to power your ship. All right, let's uninstall this because we're gonna need to make some money, and we're probably gonna have to do it illegally. Yeah, those are my intakes. Uninstall. Let's speed this up and let's keep going with the video.
Job, and I was not good. And it like I definitely Rod was like, she's not good, and it was tough to get through because I like didn't. I'd never done it before. I didn't have any experience. And I think if I'm remembering correctly, that Cyberpunk happened the exact same way, where they were fans and they were like, "We want you in our game."
Yeah, that's just to me that's such bullshit on any level. Like it is a form. It's it's definitely like nepotism. Like she didn't have to try. She didn't have to do anything. She sucked up to the industry on her podcasts, and they decided, oh, okay, yeah, we'll let you be one of the good ones, right? Not from her talent or anything like that. Oh, actually, let's just do it this way. Do it this way. Boom, put that there. You can buy and refill gas canisters and have a few extras, but they tend to explode if you have an accident. Yeah, it's not bad to just have the one and fill it up. Where are we at right now? We're at 82% even after leaking all that air, so we're pretty good on our gases. I don't have any. I don't have anything in this pump, so we could add another one later. And then we've got our intake regulator, mass market intake regulator, installed canister before passing. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm suffocating. If you don't know, if you're just learning the game, the first suit they give you has no oxygen tanks, and it can't hook up any oxygen tanks. You basically put the helmet on and trap the air inside the suit to use for just long enough to get it done. Just like in real life, canisters also can explode if they deteriorate or overpressurize. Yeah, I've heard people talk about like you can fill the oxygen tanks that go with some of the suits here, but if you don't do it right, you overpressurize it and it explodes. So, but those things cost a lot of money too, so it's good. Let's go home, zones. We're going to add a new zone, and it's going to be right here. There we go. Add new zone. Yeah, green because it's money, and that's going to be our barter area. I won't have to worry about like barter, add new zone. Boom. Later you get crew, and it becomes more like a RimWorld game where your crew has feelings and things like that. Like you very much have my rank is captain. I do shift work. I have my own, like, this is your normal stuff that you see in a survival game: comfortable, food, hydration, weight, you got to take a shit sometimes, relaxed, bedtime, and dirty. I got really dirty after that explosion. My bag is all covered in my blood. But then you also have emotional ones. Like after all that shock, I got kind of messed up. So you have to feed these too, or it hurts your work. Like right now, contact, neglected. You wish someone would talk to you. And I feel humiliated after being a dum-dum. I did turn life support back on. It's back on. See? And my charger is going to. It's oxygen. It's got oxygen going into it. So we're good there. We're good. Trade. Okay, why aren't you? Trade. Oh, I don't have a license. That's right. All right. So before we continue with Alana, one thing you have to know about this game: to shipbreak, you have to have a limited license. The smallest license is I'll show you. They're 24 hours. Let's go sell. And they don't want the seats. Fuck me. Okay. All right. Illegal trading it is. Here we go. God, I feel like I need to restore some of this before we go anywhere. Yeah, let's, like, restore this. But yeah, so I have $650 to my name and I bought a ship. And you go and buy a license for $5,000 for 24 hours. Now time moves fairly slowly. As you see, the seconds are ticking by and we're on 8 times speed. So 24-hour license, you can get a lot done. Let's go 16. Let's go 16, and then we'll keep going with the video.
Yes, you could do that if you started the game's media route the exact same way that I did, but largely it's just straight nepotism. It was just straight up that people knew who I was and liked me and wanted to work with me. I was not good. I didn't deserve either of those jobs. It's just straight nepotism.
Wow.
It was just straight up that people knew who I was and...
You know, you can't choose to not take those jobs. I mean, I can admit that it would be hard not to do it, but I would feel really dirty about it afterwards.
Liked me and wanted to work with me.
Not only has she written, she has also voiced characters in video games as well. In Dispatch, Pierce lends her talents to the character Malevola. In fact, so invested was she in this role that she imbued the character with her late stepfather's surname, transforming a throwaway line into a personal tribute.
My name's Victor, because I'm a fucking winner.
I'm Alice.
Bruno.
Malevola. Your last name's Gib?
Cool.
That was my stepdad's last name. And they were like, do you want to give her a last name? Because the line was just written as Malevola. And I was like, if I were to do that, I would do it for my stepdad, and they kept it in. I know I recorded that, but I had no idea if they would keep it. So I think that was recorded like just a little bit before he died. I guess I didn't know when I recorded it that he wouldn't still be here by the time the game came out, but... Oh, that's so sweet. But yeah, now that is, like, immortalized in a game that, oh, fuck, that millions of people have played, and, it doesn't mean anything, obviously, but, like, I'm like, oh, well.
Well, I mean, okay. It can mean something for the person who did it, right? Game developers are known to put in things that are memorable to them, but not necessarily anyone else would get it, right? She's just bragging about it on her stream. For clout, maybe? I don't know. Oh, no, I don't need to go that far back. All right. I've got all these fucking chairs. All right, we're just going to drop them off at the next ship. They're only worth a couple hundred anyway. Let's get on here. How to drive, don't crash. So I'll go over this before we go any further on her crying about her stepdad. This is your flight menu. Before I can leave the station, of course, I have to go to the comms and hail the station to request undocking. You've been cleared for takeoff. So now I release the clamps and I can back out of the station. From there, we move over here, and this is our ship. We can zoom all the way down and see the little ship that we have moving out of the station. So what we'll do from here is pick something to scrap. So if you look at this screen right here, it gives there's sensors added to the game now. So the sensors can help you tell stuff, like this being like, oh, might there be stuff? This looks like airlock size. This looks larger. There might be something in it. Sometimes you can get to these and they're all torn up. This looks interesting. Let's go to this one that's closer, that's bigger. See if we can find anything about it. First thing you should always do in this game, I don't know why it's turned all the way up, is fucking calm down on your thrusters, your maneuvering drive, because you'll swing around like there's no tomorrow. So you swing. Our bearing is right here, 360 degrees. We want to get that bearing to be, right at one towards the target that we've locked onto. As you can see, we're also still moving too, because there's no oh, whoa, too far. I just spun back around the other way. There we go. Bearings, there we go. Get it a little closer. Close enough. And then we're gonna hit thrusters and head towards that. I usually don't go very fast in the beginning. I mean, probably at all, because you can do other things while you're heading towards. Let me make sure my alarm is on. Heading towards this ship. Like we're doing 100. We'll go up to 150. 150 meters a second. Actually, let's go to 200. 200. All right. So now that we're traveling there, I'm going to get out of here. And we are going to auto task restoring the ship. Restore. Why are you not doing anything? Without player input, yeah. Here we go. Now when you auto task, he should start auto tasking everything in the area and get us back up to speed. Now, you're wondering like what'll happen. When I get close, I should start hearing my proximity alarm, but you can also go here, look at my nav, and I can see how close I am to it. So I've got plenty of time while I fix up all sorts of stuff. Let's keep going with the video.
Now he's like related to this character I played, and that's just really sweet. Yeah. Oh, man.
And here the inner world of a lone writer visibly merges with the outer myth, a voice actor given the privilege to shape a character in her own image and memory. Why I mention this will become important later on. But before I get into talking about this LaFay game, I should also establish what Alana's philosophies are. There was a time she argued that having a child, specifically parenting a 2-year-old, constitutes a situational disability in the realm of gaming accessibility.
Wait, what?
She said this when discussing titles like Elden Ring, where she observed that the inability to pause the game amidst the demands of childcare somehow represents a hindrance akin to a disability, implying that this was something that video games must accommodate for.
It counts as a disability where a video game like Elden Ring.
Dude, this is shit that I hear. Like you've heard all of this leftist bullshit before, right? Where it's like having a child is a disability. No, it's not. It's a hindrance. Like definitely, you have to do more. Like last week, I couldn't stream at all, pretty much because I was doing things for my kids. That's part of why part of having kids, right? You put in the work for them. That's not a disability whatsoever. It's just life, right? Disability is having something like PTSD, depression, your legs fucking cut off, you're not having a fucking kid. That's just nuts to me.
Ring is concerned, if you have a kid, you have a 2-year-old, you're trying to play Elden Ring, you can't pause.
But what one should really find hilarious about this is the language employed.
It's not a disability that you can't play Elden Ring, right? I remember hearing about this. Oops, I hit it. I wasn't paying attention, but that's all right. We didn't hit hard. This is going to be an interesting game to play while I'm doing. Why are we? All right, we're going too far away. Blast back towards that sucker. There we go. There we go. And we'll move the thruster throttle down. Situational disability sounds like disabled when convenient. Yes, exactly. And it's disrespectful to people that have actual disabilities that hinder their life, right? Go tell someone who doesn't have their eyesight that you have a disability because you can't play Elden Ring because you have kids. It's fucking insane.
It reframes what is essentially a generational imperative to bear children as some form of impairment. Parenthood Recast is a situational limitation to be engineered in the face of a digital interface made for one's personal entertainment. Also noteworthy is that at the 2024 Game Awards, Pierce claimed to have witnessed members of the Black Myth Wukong development team from Game Science crying in disappointment after their loss for Game of the Year. That anecdote circulated widely, painting the Chinese developers as sore losers, yet this account was firmly refuted by Charles Young, former editor-in-chief of IGN China, who had been with the team throughout the event. No one cried, and he had no idea why such a claim was made. More egregious, however, are all of Alana's references to working on God of War Ragnarok. She appeared in the credits, not as a narrative writer, but as an accessibility consultant. Actual credited writers such as Anthony Birch pushed back against any implied broader authorship, yet coverage on this, thanks to the YouTube channel Harmful Opinions, Alana's insistence to the contrary now appears to be dubious. And then, in 2026, came clarity. She had spent 4 years as a writer on the newly announced God of War Le Fay, and she announced it with evident pride. And that all begs the question, why the earlier insistence on distancing herself from God of War Ragnarok, and why the subsequent revelation? But the main topic I want to address here is what makes Pierce so important to the industry. This isn't just a question of talent, as many have assumed, but the fact that either she or people around her knew exactly how to position her. Alana Pierce hit a sweet spot by intersecting herself between old gatekeepers, journalists, and all these new platforms.
I knew this when I joined IGN, that games media wasn't going to last. I knew. When I got there and I watched the world around us be overtaken by YouTubers and Twitch streamers. And I remember having a discussion once where I basically was talking to some of our producers where I was like, it takes us too long to get a news video up because by the time we have it up, every other YouTuber has had it up 5 hours earlier.
What?
So
okay, it's hard.
It was already a problem where when you have too many people, it was like you had to submit a request to make a video, and then you had to find whichever person to help you film it who was assigned to that and make sure they weren't doing something else, which they almost always were, of course. And then it gets added to a pipeline. It gets added to the end of the list of things that editors need to edit. And of course, everyone thinks the thing that they want edited is the most important thing, so you can't bump your way up that line in any direction. So it was just, there was no way for games media as a corporate structure to compete with YouTube and Twitch.
In fact, this is something that the YouTube channel Craftian hit on in his video, The Rod of Influencer Culture.
Random people on the internet have become just another part of the marketing cycle, especially when they know it'll come with millions of eyes on social media and through word of mouth to boot. Let's get some popular YouTubers to throw in the credits for good measure and reap the rewards because people have become so conditioned by their frankly pathetic parasocial attachment they have to these people. Whether Jack or Critical or whoever are genuinely great people is besides the point. They must on some level understand that they're being used for purely cynical purposes. If they want to be part of the game or had a great time or just want the paycheck is besides the point. It's what the actual fuck Ad Hoc and all these other developers are doing by treating people as products, for the same reason Alana Pierce, Young Ye, and all the other grifters allow themselves to be perceived as in turn. Good God, man, it feels like I'm going insane sometimes by how pervasive parasocial behavior has become and how many people are basing their entire existence around.
Yeah, I could definitely see, it's definitely true. They're using influencers because influencers have audiences. So they're trying to it's the same thing as like trying to spread a wider audience, right? Well, we know this person, Moist Critical has millions of followers. We want some of those people to come buy the game. I remember the easy mode discourse with Sekiro. For the record, I don't want these Souls games to have an easy mode. Yeah, I agree. Well, to me, it's up to the developer of what they want to make. Like the Mina game gets a lot of flack for having an easy mode, but it also, like, when they made the game, they wanted you to be able to play it as easy as possible or as completely difficult as possible. But influencers like having a guy who lives near you suggesting something, parasocially speaking, you're right. And it's like they're picking these people whether they have skill in actual acting or voice acting or anything like that whatsoever, or writing. They have these guys, like, she's writing for God of War Laundry, La Fée, but she's not but she has no history of it. So how do we know her writing's going to be good? And how much is she actually contributing to the writing team? Or is she just there because of who she is, right?
Around social media and regurgitating whatever the popular opinion is because they're incapable of thinking critically.
And so now, a popular series of video games about a man who wrestled with gods, fate, is shoved even further.
I know about shill access for things. My specialty is Disney Star Wars shills and how they get gifts and early access to things from Disney for positive coverage, like getting invited to premieres. 100%. I mean, it's permeated the gaming industry too. Like, a lot of people aren't willing to have any kind of hard criticism. Excuse me. Just like he's saying for the game, it's all about making sure you get the next time. I mean, I remember watching Total War go through a phase where, like, one Total War content creator wanted to... He gave bad criticism for it, and they, like, took him out of the partner program and didn't, give him any keys anymore and things like that. And it's like, what do you think the other people are going to do? Are they going to stand by him, or are they going to stand in line so that they can get the free stuff to be able to keep making money? It's insane, really. Pick up. Are we missing floor? Are we missing floor with our airlocks? We are. Jesus. I know. Pressure alert, blah, 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 blah. No. There we go. These things are a pretty penny. You don't know exactly how much everything is until you get back to the station, but this will give you like a rough estimate. If it's damaged, I don't think they'll buy it at all. Sometimes they're not looking for things, but that'll go. Grublia dispute this claiming getting gifts and access doesn't make you a shill, but he is friends with these shills like Jacob Lightspeed. It absolutely does. Listen, there are people out there that can probably take a gift and still get an unbiased opinion, right? Like, I've seen content creators who tell, companies, usually around the indie scene, because the indie scene is more willing to do it, that, hey, I'm going to give a my take, whether it's good or bad. So you giving me this isn't going to, you giving me access to the game isn't guaranteeing you a good review. Your game depends on it. But very few people, I think, overall can actually do that without becoming a shill. I mean, that's just how humankind, how people work.
They're into the wood chipper of contemporary ideology. Alana Pierce's visibility here raises the perennial question: who gets to rewrite an IP as popular as God of War? And why does so little mainstream games journalism interrogate all these networks of influence? Why is there nobody?
So if you see in front of the screen, talking about this game a little bit, sometimes the sensor profile you get is just open fucking space. There's some O2 over here, so we're going to go take that one's 14%. Hopefully one of these has some money in it.
Questioning the revolving door between journalist, consultant,
14%,
writer, and voice
68%.
talent. The games industry, which was once a realm of passionate outsiders crafting epics, now hosts professionalized classes.
Yeah, the thing about the passionate writers and stuff like that was in the very, very beginning, right? Even as we get into like the 2010s, the 2000s, 2010s, a lot of that was going away, and these people were becoming, corporations, right? There were still people who were passionate about games, but it became more about the numbers than anything else. That just good thing they didn't make space realistic. You just float away. Yeah, I know, right? There's some things. Well, you can also I saw a guy build stuff out here on the outside and then just set it down over there. He didn't install it or anything, and then flew back to base. And I'm like, yeah, in space, if it was strapped down, it might not fly. You just have to make sure it's strapped down hard enough for the thrust before you go, right? But where were we going about? I got side strapped there. Hold on. We're going to go back a little bit.
God of War. And why does so little mainstream games journalism interrogate all these networks of influence? Why is there nobody questioning the revolving door between journalist, consultant, writer, and voice talent?
I mean, it's a pretty simple reason why they don't, right? It's a cycle of it's a cycle of life. They're parasites that feed off of each other. The gaming shills give good reviews so that more people buy the game, so that they can make a new game, so that they can give free access to the gaming shills, so the gaming shills give them a good review. That's kind of what it is. And it goes even farther now with what he's talking about, with them getting voice acting jobs and other things like that, because that's going to bring their audience over to them. Their audience is already parasocial to them. Why not get that parasocial audience on your side, right? They're gonna like the game more because they're parasocial to this particular person. They already have this person's views.
The games industry, which was once a realm of passionate outsiders crafting epics, now hosts professionalized classes where all speech is strategic. Everything is now a curated game of branding, alignment with corporate values, and audience capture. Pierce's trajectory from troll mailing activist writing to mothers of harassers, to accessibility advocate, to Santa Monica writer, to media personality, all exemplifies this. And all of her success should provoke a lot of questions, but it doesn't, because there's no longer any value in honesty. And all this silence around Alana Pierce is not an oversight. People are outright refusing to confront how power flows. It is hilarious that so many of these so-called fans of the God of War franchise in particular refuse to break the flow, like their hero Kratos most certainly would have. And if you really want to know what Alana Pierce will do with this new God of War game, just consider the precedent of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac, where many critics...
Now, like what he's talking about is that like the actual problem with the gaming industry that comes around those sides. Like you talk about this isn't a woke thing. This isn't someone being woke and saying that they are like they're trying to change the industry to be bisexual and gay. This is access journalism that they're taking popular content creators that shield to them and putting them in more and more roles around the gaming industry, consolidating a fan base that they can make money off of. That's where they won't need the gamer who wants the passionate game when they can get all the slop tubers to say yes to any game because my slop tuber told me so, right?
Widely observed elements of self-insertion by certain writers, particularly in the reimagining of Mary Jane Watson. Her character arc bent visibly toward this whole concept of lived experiences and writers' perspectives, rather than the mythic demands of the source material itself.
I can still fix this! I always do! We always do!
I always come second! I live in your shadow where my dreams turn to dust! That is the truth!
This is how women, or female-brained people in general, write stories now. All they end up doing is using popular IPs to air their personal grievances and domesticate any traditional male heroes. Any morals that these stories used to convey are now just a grounds for trauma therapy. They're all just repeated affirmations that you're not the problem.
I don't think that's what it is, right? Yeah, it's definitely more female-centered writing, but just because she is going through we'll take that. Like, she's got venom inside of her, or it's not venom. I won't speak any more of this because I don't remember any of this and I haven't played much of the game, or I haven't played the game at all. But I know what they're saying about the female writing with it. And I really don't have a problem with the vast majority that's out there. I don't think it's female brains trying to take over the industry for women, right? It's shills taking over the industry for anything else, because this can happen with men in the industry too. It's just that's a good one too. It's just something that it's corporatization to try and pull in as many viewers as possible. It's not female brained women coming in and doing it. They want this type of language in there because they do want as many people as could possibly buy the game to buy the game. And I hate to tell them, like, the deep-seated passionate people are pretty much gone. The next generation isn't going to have any. They're getting addicted to all the slop that comes out.
It's everyone else that's the problem. No, you're good.
This is why I play games like Ostranauts and RimWorld and other things like that, because these games do have passion behind them. There's still a huge industry of games that have passion behind them. You're just going to have to go find it, right? You're going to have to search for indie companies and the small guys who are making this stuff. As gaming gets easier to make, because it seems to always be easier to make, we'll see we see a thriving indie scene. So, leave the slop guys and leave the AAA industry, come to the indie scene and play real games.
Perfect. Just the
Wargaming Dad, I gotta say, I appreciate that you don't 100% agree with Egad. Good for you. Yeah, I try to always give my opinion, and I try not to just shill for anyone that's out there, right? I was an anti-woker, but I spend a lot of my days on the internet when I do talking about anti-wokers who I think are garbage. I appreciate it, Average Gatsby. I'm glad somebody notices, because that's kind of where I want to, that's what I want to sit in. That's what I want to be. No, my graphics. You don't always see eye to eye with him, but it's good shit. Yeah, we've had some pretty good discussions online. I've seen him and a couple people in Discord and stuff like that disagree. So I like actually spurring conversation about it. You don't always have to like what people say. Oh, that because I'm being a moron. I can't get it back there because of that stuff. We'll put it here. Let's go back out. It was out here somewhere. So that is where the real discussion is had. I agree. You shouldn't agree with everything that everybody says. You should give your own opinion. You should think about it as critically as you can. Too many. Yeah. You want to give a good example. Look at the current anti-woke state where they just will not. Though I did see, though he made a retarded comment, old Atreus did like say Smash was being stupid. I think I have to watch the whole thing because I think he was probably softballing, but yeah.
The way you are. In the case of God of War LaFay, the trajectory lies plainly before our eyes.
Oh, I was muted. Yeah, I think it's better discussions just to spend time than spend time dick riding everybody. The anti-woke are like the perfect example of it, to be sure. What I just saw, hold on, let's go back a little bit because I want to say something about what I just saw and I lost my thought.
Affirmations that you're not the problem. It's everyone else that's the problem. No, you're good and perfect just the way you are.
I mean, I'm not the problem, and I know that.
The trajectory lies plainly before our eyes. This newly...
So if you want to look at like the real failing of when the industry started to fail, and it was starting to do this before that, but these instances all started to happen around the same time. We started to see BioWare was one of the biggest examples where they changed from, if you want to look at the timeline, Mass Effect Andromeda versus, God, what was that live service game that they made? BioShock 3 was wild. What's the name of that damn fucking game? BioWare live service. Anthem, that's it, Anthem. What a lot of people forget about what happened with Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda is all of the team that made the original Mass Effect were pulled to make Anthem. So Anthem suffered from having Mass Effect Andromeda suffered from having an inexperienced team that weren't the storytellers and the developers of that original work. And they ended up failing because of it, because no one was left behind. Anthem was not designed for passion. It was designed because a live service needed to be put out. The big case you want to pay attention to, the day after Anthem launched, all of the old heads from BioWare quit. They left. And all that was left was, the rotten remains of the new that weren't the passionate BioWare. But, the AAA companies were looking to get rid of the old heads. They didn't want people who would argue with them about story or this and that or the passionate things. They wanted people who would stand in line and make the games they wanted to make, or the things that would make them money, like especially around that time, microtransactions. Same thing with Ubisoft. Ubisoft decided that it was a good idea to start forcing microtransactions into their single player games, and their games suffered for it, right? And their wallets suffered for it. So this is just another layer of that, where they're going into influencers because those influencers have audiences and bringing them in. And what that stems from is the access journalism that started the Gamergate, right?
The announced chapter shifts focus to Kratos'
wife,
whose presence was supposed to be just a memory and a mystery. And here you have Alana Pierce, who was confirmed spending 4 years as a writer on this very project. And now remember that she got really invested with her role in Dispatch, that she even tailored the character she...
Y'all are going to watch me die spectacularly because I don't pay attention to something in this game. So just be aware. Is there anything else in here?
Played on aspects of her own life. Well, that's essentially what's going to happen with LaFay. Alana Pierce, contemporary writer, is going to write herself into the mythos. She's going to try to embody or elevate the role of Kratos' wife through a modern lens of female empowerment. And all we'll see is yet another female self-insertion within a much grander epic. One notes, too, the curious cross-pollination of influences. Dispatch's deep ties to the Critical Role Circle, Dungeons & Dragons enthusiasts par excellence, may help explain the otherwise jarring presence of a gelatinous cube companion in the game. This is a clear import from tabletop fantasy into what was ostensibly a Norse-rooted saga. Greek-rooted if you want to go farther back. But under Pierce's narrative hand, the mythic grammar now bends toward the personal networks.
Yeah, sure. You can definitely say that with it. But I mean, all fantasy kind of digs into other fantasies at one point or another. So yeah, the blob thing may be a Critical Role jump into, but if they're signaling that audience, look at Baldur's Gate 3, that audience is going to come. I don't know that it's going to be that out there, like that crazy. I think they are trying to do something new with it. I just don't know what they're going for with the afterlife of gods and stuff like that. It feels weird that we may see characters in God of War that Kratos brutally murdered. And what is she doing? Is she coming back to life? I don't understand the method for it.
And enthusiasms surrounding a completely separate franchise. And so what was once a realm of gods and giants now, for whatever reason, accommodates D&D monsters. But anyway, in the future, I think you'll see that most every major influencer capitulates to this game and its narrative. Otherwise, they would have to contend with the real-life story of a woman who once blurred lines.
I mean, one thing too, if you want to go with it's a D&D monster, like every D&D has like every monster that's ever existed in its pantheon. So the idea of the blob, I don't know if it's specifically a D&D one. Technically, no. The cube, yes. But I mean, you would then say that D&D is just copying the blob, but making the cube, more set together. We're out of the realm of creativity to where people are just pulling from things they know and hoping that people like it, right? Oh, people like the cube, so we'll pull from it. It's more laziness than I think any kind of agenda.
Around the end credits of AAA games, but now authors the chapter that places the in-game wife of the God of War at center stage. And when people do review the game, none of their takes will be about neutral craftsmanship or the effort to continue the story of Kratos. Instead, this will be about the personal vocation of a woman pressed upon public myth. The outer world of shared story will collapse into the inner world of the self. This is what has always happened when women lead these writing projects. The pattern manifests as self-insertion and reproportion to mirror the perfection of the writer's.
Hold on, Egad. I got something for you here. If females writing female-like characters and these things into it is, them and self-inserting, then isn't Kratos not men self-inserting a overly strong character into it? Like, I don't think that's... You can be mad that it's not what it was before, but you can't say that the women are the ones that are self-inserting stuff into it when the entire gaming industry has been self-inserts for men, right? Coming up there, the guy smoking cigars and drinking beer, every game, the big strong man that you want to be with the honorable morals and stuff like that. You could even say in some cases inserting your own morals into it, right? So I don't know that I would go that far.
Ideals. The Mary Sue. And this is why villains in these stories are so simplistic and non-threatening.
Joke's on you, I'm an alcoholic. Fair enough, bud, fair enough.
And have the audacity to believe that their ideals are just so airtight, so unassailable, that they cannot even conceive of any ideals that could actually compete with them.
So it's more perception than it is like them saying they can't compete with them. The problem is we're still coming off this whole era of these crazy women and bitches and men, because there's been this horrible manosphere, womansphere, where they're like, I don't need no man. I'm going to go live my best life. I'm going to do this and that. And then the opposite being the manosphere and the black pills, where you should treat... Hold on one second. Where you should treat women like objects and, just make lots of money because that's what a man is. It's both of those are bullshit lives that people are believing, but the internet has taken it by storm that this is something that happens in the real world, and it doesn't. It's a false life, just like it was false on Facebook, the families that were being so happy. So that's kind of my main whole thing with to get this is to get it to like normalcy. Sure, this chick right here is crazy and she says crazy things about her disability, but that's not the norm around people. I still say and push back to the idea of it's the gaming industry is changing, where yes, there are more women involved in gaming and all of that, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of these women are writing from their perspective. And it's very noticeable because the perspective has been so male focused since its inception, since the beginning. So just like pattern recognition makes you see all the cars that are the same color and make as yours, you seeing the amount of women coming into the industry, the pattern recognition makes you compensate it. I mean, there are crazy shit that's out there. I'm not going to deny it, right? Dragon Age, the Veil Guard is the peak example of what would be considered woke. But we're to a point now where every little thing is woke. We still don't really even know that much about this game in particular. But we're already making assumptions because of color lighting, because it's a woman, because she's the mother or she's the wife of Kratos. And I just think it's dishonest to not that I'm calling you dishonest, Egad. It becomes dishonest on both sides and in a lot of sides when we just pretend that it's why didn't he drag it? Okay, I guess he did. That it's more, right? Attack these situations that come up, right? Go after the people who are absolutely crazy. But if it's a fucking 5-like Twitter post about something being gay and whatever and how they want to take over the industry, that's not women trying to take over the industry, right? And a lot of what we see with Alana Pierce is literally just nepotism and them wanting her clout, or even some of the people being fans and parasocial themselves. To be honest, I've never been much of a God of War player. Did she have a function? Was she a thing, or like majority important? So, she's not brought up in the first 3 games, of course, because it's all Greek. But in the second game, or in the God of War when it was coming back, she's the wife. Her and Kratos get married, and Kratos kind of settles down. So that's kind of the whole thing of why she's important, right? They had his son. Kratos went from crazy out there, rage-induced monster to becoming a dad. And God damn it. All right, I'm not doing that right now, but to a more calm guy, because we all know kids tend to calm down the war guys, or it can at least change your perspective. There was a whole thing when I was in the military about like the tough guy, but he's in a pink tutu drinking tea with his daughter, and it's like the guy could murder millions of people and would do horrible things, but because he's a father, he's willing to do anything for his child. So I think that's kind of where they were going with Kratos in that particular rung. Let's uninstall. But yeah, that's her purpose, is she's the wife of Kratos. She's also a god, right? And I didn't play the last 3, so I don't know if she was more in the first one and then she died, or what happened with it. So I will say that I am uninformed in there.
Fuck was that? Lofty? What the fuck is Lofty?
My big thing too with seeing it in like probably the same realm that he's like weirded out about it, is you kind of really would have expected them to go into the son story instead of this offshoot. But I guess, they can make side stories all they want. Sure. It just seems odd. It seems out of place. Oh, I got to get all these on too. Well, at least that one. Come on, you.
That looks like shit. I'm going to be honest with you. It reminds me of that game Forspoken a little bit.
Damn, he threw Forspoken at it. I missed this.
So uninspired, and it looks so dull. And you guys have to remember that is the opening of the game, probably, because it says X for new game. It's possible there's a prelude, but that seems clearly towards the opening. It's dead. That game is not going to do well for what they expect it to do. Here's my point.
And here's the thing that happened. It actually happened with his comments, is people take uninspired and then change that to mean woke. No, it can just be uninspired because they are, using nepotism to build it, right? We look at the artists who are doing this crazy, I forget his name, Jeff something or other. I wish Damaged was here. He could tell me. He was part of the God of War series though, right? I do know that much. He's also a pretty hardcore lefty, so hearing him not shill for this is pretty crazy, yeah.
If you got rid of God of War, like look at what the internet was asking for. A lot of people were saying, oh, well, maybe she gets to go into other pantheons. Okay, so do we get to see Chinese mythology, Egyptian, whatever, right? This just feels like Corey or somebody wanted to write a fantasy story. And I'm not saying, it's not going to be rooted and grounded in some actual mythology of something. Maybe it already is, and I'm just not aware of it. But you've lost the gore and the violence that made the first game. You've lost the character. You already lost him after 2018 because he changed so much he wasn't Kratos anymore. Now you've lost.
I don't mind the changing of Kratos, right? Having character development is fine, right? Just having him being a raging beast all the time doesn't. Joffrey, that's who it is, just sounds salty to me. Yeah, like I definitely don't agree with his take here on it, that they like. I think they should have kept the blood and gore, absolutely. That's just a staple of this type of game. But that's them wanting, that's corporate wanting to go, hey, we want this to be for as many people as possible. But like changing his character, I don't think that's anything. There's nothing wrong with that, right? If you just play the same character, like if you play him over and over and over again with nothing changing, now he's mad at these gods, right? Now, he obviously goes through and kicks a lot of fucking ass in the games. I've seen the clips. But so I don't think it's that different. He's still killing gods. He's just grown and he's, you know, has a different life, right? He settled down a little bit after killing all the Greeks.
The identifiable mythology of it, and you've also lost you've lost me with the cube. It's in the little Disney character at the beginning. It just seems seems like just a thing.
I'll say that I agree with, and that'll change my mind on the cube. I mean, God of War was kind of fucking lame, to be honest. I always thought it was too try hard on the blood and gore shit. I liked it for it. I liked the type of combat it did. I remember watching something that was talking about the combat of God of War and how it was so deeply changed from what it was that it became kind of like slop. It was really good. I think Egad was watching it and I was watching the stream. So, you know, I think it's a staple of it. I enjoyed, like, I'm not good at beating games, so I beat all 3 of them and finished that series. So I'm definitely a fan. I haven't had a PlayStation in years, and I don't plan on buying a PlayStation anytime soon for it. And I think you can buy them on PC, but it just kind of passed me by. Again, I play indie games like this now. It makes sense that Kratos wouldn't want his son to be like him and teach him to control his anger. Right, like Kratos before his family was murdered was not teaching his son to be a raging brute. He was teaching his son to be a soldier, right? But he was probably teaching his kids to be soldiers and things like that. But he was like, his rage was over the gods killing his family. It was originally Ares, and then he found everyone else was it. And he was just this brooding monster that couldn't, you know, he was nothing but rage. So having that change into something else in the next games seems like a logical conclusion. To me, the change into being a dad and not wanting the life he had for his son is pretty logical and pretty trad.
Fantasy. Like you if they would have taken God of War off the title and you didn't know the God of War story and there wasn't Kratos, it was just a story about this goddess who dies, you would not be talking about this game.
I think the big problem and what he kind of mentioned, let me cancel. And what he kind of mentioned there is like they're bringing in all these. Okay, stop. They're bringing in all these.
There's something ironic.
Stop. They're bringing in all these other religions, right? And it sounds like they're going to try and say that, well, all these other religions are dead. And, you know, you get to meet them and see how they are. But kind of the fun of God of War is killing the gods. And it just seems like they're trying to marvel it and expand the universe, right? I'm sure there will be some way for the gods to come back. I just feel like that's going to be a thing, and she's going to be reunited with Kratos. So that Kratos can kill all sorts of other people, right? So not bad video, Egad. Of course, I had some agreements and disagreements. I don't know if I want to go back out. Let's go load all this up. And up. Oh, those are those floor panelings I bought. Actually, let's put them. Let's put that one. Stop. I want this. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Use. But yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in this game either. But I don't, like I said, I don't think it's because of woke. I don't think it's because of female brain, which I need. Now that I've seen this, I need to watch your female brain video. Maybe we'll do that on Saturday if nothing comes up. If the Noah the Otter video isn't released, then we may bring that up and watch it. Yeah, I know, I'm unregistered. Let's see here. Oh, cancel action. Let's go turn my control panel back on. Transponder on. Yes, we break the law because it's what we have to do. All right, let me get in position here. So if you haven't seen this portion of it, yeah, you can see the holes now that we were closer range. All right, we are backing away from the station slightly. Let's click on, we're going to have to, so we're going to have to shoot a little higher. Let's get up to, what? Oh, shoot. I thought I was around it. Look at me. I told y'all. Let's stop spinning. Let's get on trajectory here. All right, and let's go. Once we get clear of this guy, then we'll head over. All right, where are we at? Oh, 26. Now let's go back down to 200. What is our angle on it? Bearings 2. But if I do that, I'm just going to fly right into Ganymede. So what we're going to do is angle a little bit off. Go to hit that one until we get a better. Bring that down. If you haven't noticed yet, this is more hard science, even though it's a 2D game. So let's take a look. Yeah, that'll push us up into here, and once we're closer, I'll come over. While that is happening, let's do some restoration. Why is it saying I can't do these? This I should be able to restore. There we go. Boom. Home. Let me get my nav link up so I can see myself, and then we'll. So I think a video came into my general chat, and if any of y'all ever want me to watch a video to see what my opinion is on it, or just something that's funny or fun, in my Discord, I have an area called Feed the Pig. That's where you can put any content in that you think might be interesting that you want me to talk about. I pull from it all the time for stream, sometimes exclusively. But I saw this video come up in it from a guy named Remnant. Now, looking over his channel, it looks like he tries to be a deep anti-woke like philosopher. I actually was thinking about, like, we may actually not watch this specific video, but he made an expose video on Anthony Gramuglia. I'm so in between watching this one or watching his Strawberry interview where he talks about, is women's body count important? I think that would be funny. All right, let's slow that down. Hold on. I think we're going to start with the Anthony stuff, especially since Noah has been such a subject, and we're waiting on his to see if his video, the Toastify video, goes private. No. Okay, so we got to go this way, get bearings, boom. Boom. Okay, I will. My bearings are on the wrong thing. That makes sense. Okay, let's go through those, because that might convince me to watch this video. Hold on, let me get on course here. Beautiful, beautiful. Boom, perfect. And we're only going to go up to about 150. I want time to restore some of these items, actually, now that I think about it, because they're worth more when you restore them. Why isn't missing item, a welding tool? Where's my welding tool? Hold on. It's right here. Oh, I have no charge. That makes sense. You know what we're going to do? We're going to install this bastard. All right. While that's installing, let's go read some comments. All right, so here's the body count video. Disclaimer, a lot of you brought the attention to Strawberry and Rev's history concerning lolicons. When I was recording this conversation in my live stream, I was completely ignorant of it and do not condone lolicon whatsoever. Uh-oh. The latest statement that things would have been different puts me off. If you believe in hearing people out and having productive conversations, you shouldn't have an opinion. Read the replies to that. Yeah, that's what I figured the good stuff would be. We're going to pause this real quick so I don't crash into the space station. Don't you think things would have been different if you knew it? That statement doesn't negate he wouldn't have heard you out. But of course, if I say extreme example, murdering people is always right, there is not much I can teach you. I just think he meant the frame or tone of the conversation / video would have been different. If you like pizza, of the cheese, as it were, virtual or otherwise, is acceptable, then I'm in favor of you just going to jail. I don't need to have Probably best to clarify that they are not lolicons, as to not unintentionally misconstrued their opinions. Okay, we've got to watch this. I don't even know who you or Strawberry are, but you should have made her current stance more clear than she replied in the comments. Remnant. I respect you, Remnant, but as a person who's also seen Rev's content, here's my opinion and clarification. To me, saying anime drawings are the same as CP is the same argument that violence in video games causes real world violence. Jesus Christ. No, but it's still CP. Oh no. Oh no. The pedophiles came after him. Yes, I don't want to boldly go where every man has gone before. Don't expect to find dying. Okay. We're watching this. I have to know. How long is this? 36 minutes? I have to listen to this. Oh, God. All right.
Today is a different type of video. You see, the context to this one was, we were doing a live stream where we were discussing whether a man should care about a woman's body count if she converted to Christianity. And there was a lot of discussion about this on Twitter, so I was going over that. And a couple of the tweets I was discussing came from a person called Darlene Strawberry, and she was made aware of this live stream and decided to join in chat to clarify her position. And instead of that, I decided to invite her on stream so she can just explain her position. And it was very enjoyable. Neither of us knew anything about each other. All we knew about each other were a few tweets made online, and we decided to go from there. Aside from—
Hold on, let me clear this alarm. Let's hail. So this is a prerequisite, I guess, beforehand, huh? Docking. Airlock B. We'll go with airlock B. Okay, there we go. All right, let's clear that. You know, the first time I ever played this game, I was like, "That's annoying. I'm just going to turn it off." And then I found out why that alarm is there. Also, I've figured out never match speed. It's so dumb because it makes you match speed every time you push this button, when I can just let it do its thing, do my docking, and then connect to it fluidly. Yeah, maybe a little riskier. All right, we're locked in. Let's start listening.
From the tweets, the only thing I knew about her was that she was a sizable VTuber, which is why I put her in the thumbnail. The discussion we had was extremely pleasant, and I hope you enjoy it. There's one problem though. In the live stream, I had audio tracks of my voice, the rain, the
yes.
music,
I also tend, when I was younger, to ignore the engine light.
and her voice. For her audio track, they are all completely merged together. So if you hear any audio issues, I do apologize. That is my fault. And I tried to do the best I could to possibly fix it. Other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. A special thank you to all the patrons who decided to support the channel. This video is probably going to get demonetized, so if you'd like to support me, be sure to subscribe to the Patreon.
Hey, that's a good point. If you haven't joined, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It's a fun little time.
Okay. Yes, I can. I think that they can as well. Let me turn it up, by the way, as well. I think.
Okay.
There we go. Can you all hear her, by the way? Be sure to give like a...
Yeah. First time coming back.
I do appreciate you all coming on stream and everything. If you want to lay out the exact position and like the little thing I do have a problem with, and we could talk about that if you'd like.
Sure. What's your... Sorry, hold on. I'm trying to open up the stream on my computer. I was on my phone.
Jesus.
It was so weird. I was actually like taking a nap, and I woke up and like this was
What
the
the
first thing I saw,
fuck?
and I thought...
Look at what I posted about Anthony. In general. Everyone here is making comments on the channel that they have never given attention to, and it's hilarious. Oh, we've got... Is Anthony freaking out about this video? Maybe we need to go back to this. Hold on. Link. Hold on. We're going to get some prep stuff here. Let me make sure I'm paused so I'm not wasting... Oh, it does pause when you sell. Okay. Boom. Boom. It started because Remnant made a video that's now gotten called "Why Left-Wing Art Looks Mentally Ill" or something like that. Oh, I remember seeing that one. because I remember making the comment. I haven't watched it, but I remember making the comment that all the artwork is mentally ill at some way or another. This is about 5 years ago. We'll pull this up. How about this? We'll pull this up tomorrow when we go over this Anthony video for it, because I am interested now, and we'll read some of this stuff too. And we'll have to see what Anthony's clapback is on this.
Thought it was like a pre-recorded, like I thought you had already streamed, and I was like, why is it not letting me skip ahead? And then I
air
realized it was
pump.
live.
Yeah, why can't we get to the interesting part? I want to skip past all of this boring nonsense. Where do we get to the action?
I was like, he's talking about this. I was like, I want to hear, like, I'm confused.
Oh, I haven't opened that.
It's more of the mentality of, and like, feel free to correct me if you think that like I'm misrepresenting your position at all. When it comes to your position, you're fine with men just saying, hey, I don't.
Actually, this spiraled because Remnant made an exposing video. Yeah, I see it. I saw the exposing video. We're gonna take a look at that probably tomorrow. So I've got it up here. It'll be Saturday night. We're gonna watch it and watch all this other one. I want to know a little bit more about Remnant before we dive into that video.
I don't want to deal with any of that, the history, the promiscuous behavior, or any of that stuff. But you do have a problem with other men saying, hey, no self-respecting man would be in a relationship with such a woman who has that history. And you feel...
Yeah.
And you
Go
feel
ahead,
like
sorry.
maybe that's like putting down women or something like that. I'd like to actually hear more of your position on why you think that men shouldn't do that, or you think that's wrong.
I guess I just... Sorry, I'm like definitely not a professional debater or anything.
You don't have to view this
I've
as a
actually
debate.
never did that. No, and I know it's not that. It's more of a conversation, which I appreciate. And I'm just like, I've never did this before. It was very spur of the moment.
Bro, I don't judge you at
but
all.
I will say, like, you do seem like you're like talking in good faith. Like, I don't feel like this is like, you know, like you're trying to like catch me or something or do something weird, which I appreciate. I guess I just look at it as like, man, if you really fell in love with someone and you know, they did some stuff, and like whether it was like, I don't know, people are using that as an example. I don't know if the girl in that main post did. It's like, it didn't sound like it was.
I don't think
sounded
she
like
did.
It was just she like slept with people.
Yeah, it's so sad, all of that, because it genuinely, like, I saw a video from Harmful Opinions. He literally went into all of the detail. No, it literally was just, and it's so sad because I genuinely feel bad about like mocking her and like calling her a hoe. She genuinely seems like a very sincere person. From what I can see, it was something that happened when she was like 15 years old. And that's very bad, given she said that it happened as well with like somebody who's like 50 years old. That's pretty horrible.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's really messed up, actually. I feel incredibly bad for her. She, like, if anything, there's a lot more evidence to suggest that she doesn't call herself a victim. But you could really read into it and see it as such, in my opinion. You know, so it's like, I think this discussion is good to have. It is happening over the wrong people, though. That it shouldn't be happening with this type of person. And I think it would be healthy for, like, a lot of us to get away from the whole, you've seen the memes of the married couple, the photo with Trevor. I think we got to get away from that. But
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
But you went back to more like, hey, what if you're in a relationship with a person and then you find this out and everything? And how do I put it? I'm trying to think, because it's so
Yeah, or
hard.
maybe you're friends with them first and you kind of already knew. And then, but maybe you fall in love with them. I don't know. Like, do you think that would not be a possibility that someone could, like, be friends with someone and know, like, hey, this, like, and, like, decide? Because I don't think most people, like, do, you know, like, you go on the street. Most people, they might have been, like, promiscuous in their past, but, like, they probably didn't have it. It's not, like, that common to walk up to a girl, I would hope not at least, and, like, them have one. If you're friends with someone, I don't know, you get to know them and, like, you just fall in love with them, especially if they are someone who, I mean, of course, you can never, like, see someone's heart, you know, you don't really know what anyone truly believes, I guess, but like you can't obviously see their fruit. You can try to see how they act and stuff.
Okay.
But like, I don't know, like if
cigarettes.
you really think she's genuinely repented and you think, or he, you know, it could be either, I guess, but if you think they have and you genuinely love them and like you're like, okay, like I think I really want to be with this person, like I'm willing to deal with this and willing to like talk through this. Like, should someone like be able to like tell him like, oh, he's a simp, he's stupid, you know, you're dumb, you shouldn't do that? Like, I get someone like maybe warning their friend or something, like, hey man, like I don't know if you're aware of this, but like ultimately I feel like it's up to the guy, and if the guy really believes she's changed and she's different and like he sees himself like he could be in a happy relationship with her, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, like I would agree on everything. If there's a guy,
I mean, this seems she's taking a pretty simple approach to it, right? I mean, you could say the same thing about a guy in any of those situations, right? It's not exclusive to women. Some women don't want a guy who whores around any more than, you know, the other way around.
Hey, I fell in love with her. I know about her past and everything, and I'm making this decision. I totally would respect that. But I think as a general mentality, which we should normalize in society and how we should treat each other, I don't think it would be bad at all to say, like, I don't think you should be with this woman. I think this is bad news. There's a lot of baggage that comes with it, or who knows if she'll relapse or if she really changed. I don't
relapse?
think it would be wrong.
Okay, so are they talking about like sex? Are they talking about cheating? Or are they talking about just having a high body count? Like, you're not relapsing if you've had sex with a few men or a lot of men. Either way, right? You can still have a lot of relationships and had a lot of sex in those relationships and never cheated. So, like, what are they going to relapse from?
Wrong for men to discourage that from him getting married to her. To give a little bit more meat on the bones, because I want to like specify, let's say it's a former prostitute and she claims that she changed and you want to take that risk, you like her. I think a better thing would be for him to get married to her in spite of all the pushback that he gets. I don't think we should diminish the pushback. It is still his decision. It is a bit of societal shame and everything, and I do think that there's a utility and purpose behind it. And if he wants to marry her, that's fine. But I think it still would be good for especially a lot of men to say, hey, you should avoid these types of women. You shouldn't normalize this. If anything, it becomes a very...
Prostitution is one of the oldest professions in the world. So like this is something that's been normalized for a long time, right? In one way or the other. And it's really not normalized, and it's not becoming normalized, right? Women may be taking back that they, like, he's using the extreme example of a prostitute, someone who's sleeping for money, breaking the law to do it. Women having more sex now is, are they? Because I don't think they are. Is not like groundbreaking. It's nowhere near the same thing as a prostitute, but it's not a drug that they're going to relapse on because they slept around a lot when they were younger, right? If that's the case, then men will have the same problem, and no woman should trust a man with a high body count because he might relapse.
Very rare exception, which can exist, but we, for the most part, want to stay away from that, and we don't think that men should get into these types of relationships. And I think that it's not fun to say.
Like, what are these types of relationships?
The idea that the types of men who would get married to, like, say, a former prostitute or a former porn star, there is something odd about that you would be willing to really go through with that. That's my opinion.
Don't get me wrong. It would be a wild thing, I'm sure. Like, I really couldn't imagine, like, you know, especially if they were like an actual star, like, yeah, that would be a lot of baggage to take on for sure. I'm just saying I don't think that it's fair to necessarily say that all men that would do it are like, you know, like they have no self-respect. I don't know. I guess it's like a very black and white
again,
statement.
like it goes, you can tell these people were never in a relationship. Yeah, like the problem is men and women are equal in this regard. If you won't be with a woman because of her body count, and you too yourself have a high body count, then a woman doesn't necessarily have to be with you, right? They're you know, you get into like Christian religions, and they they talk about, not having sex until birth. The man can't have sex either. It's not said that the man should be having sex. It's both people should be virgins up until marriage. So we should all be holding to that grounds if that's the morals that you believe in, right?
That I have an issue with.
Let me see. Let me think about that for a sec.
I mean, it seemed like you yourself said like there might be some exceptions, so I don't know. I feel like it's the very black and white statements of like, no, you would never be self-respecting. I have an issue with that, I feel like.
Well, I think for me personally, like, I do believe the exceptions exist. And like, especially for a lot of these women, maybe they've had a messed up past and they do genuinely change. I'm very much willing to like accept that. And I do think that those exceptions do exist, but I'm very much in favor of trying to minimize them and to keep them as exceptions. If we
commonplace that runs rampant with STDs, anybody? It's old folks' homes. When old people get put in old folks' homes, they be a fucking. I mean, we're just talking about people being promiscuous altogether, but they're focusing specifically on the woman's side of it. So should this be any different for a woman that meets a guy who's a porn star? If that's the case, then why do we have to have this specific argumentation about women when if it's bad for both, then it's just bad for both? I don't know why this is here, so we're going to take this order away. Okay. Still in early access. But yeah, I mean, we're just talking about, yes, you probably shouldn't sleep around a lot, and people can be uncomfortable with dating somebody who's had a lot of sex. I would not date somebody who's been like an OnlyFans chick or a porn star or anything like that. I just don't believe that I would want to be in that kind of relationship. You can say I'm insecure, or you can say whatever you want. That's a kind of life it couldn't be, especially if they're still doing it. Like, I really don't understand how people can argue that or can be in a relationship while your girlfriend's getting pounded in the other room, but I guess to each his own. Or even just showing off nudes. Like, that's my wife. I don't want anyone else to see her. I'm a jealous guy, right?
And good in itself. Maybe he was being a bit too dogmatic, but I think in general, for the most part, that sentiment is healthy and good, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, I hear you. I guess, like, what if we took, like, and like literal prostitutes off the table, right? Because I do think that's is a bit different, right? Than just someone who's, dated around, like, whether they had sex out of marriage, whether they, just like dated a lot of people.
There's a lot more nuance to it for sure. I think that, like, it's not just women.
This guy just tries to sound smart, right? There's much more nuance to that. No, it's just a very basic thing, right? Some men are okay with it, some men aren't. Some women are okay with men sleeping around, some men aren't, right? If you get like flabbergasted, I personally don't think you should ever, like, outside of them being public porn stars and all of that other stuff, I don't think you need to be asking about your wife's history, your husband's history. That's just a road to go down to create anxiety, right? Maybe if it's something important, like, yeah, they were a porn star, that's something you could bring up. But if they've just had, many relationships, why would it matter to go through the names of each of their people that they've slept with, or how many, what's the number, right?
Sleeping around, it's also men. And like, I view them equally in the same light.
He even said that. Okay, hold on.
I view it's wrong.
Listen to what he's saying there.
I hope you would too.
Dated around, like, whether they had sex out of marriage, whether they, just like dated a lot of people. Like, if you take that off the table, do you still feel the same way?
I think that there's a lot more nuance to it for sure. I think that, like, it's not just women sleeping around, it's also men. And, like, I view them equally in the same light as in I view it's wrong. And I hope you would too. I don't know where you really stand on a lot of that stuff, but it sounds like...
I do. I very much think it's wrong.
Oh, wait, I do remember you saying that. Yeah, my bad.
Go ahead. No, you're good. I mean, I do think it's wrong. Like, I do think it's a sin. I am a Christian. Like, I do believe it's a sin. I wasn't always a Christian. So at one point, I really didn't care. Although, you know, it's interesting. People hear my perspective and they assume all different kinds of things about me. And, you know, it's like you want to, you almost want to, like, defend yourself in these moments because you're like, you know, what they're saying is just genuinely not true. But, like, for me specifically, and, like, I've been somewhat open about this before, but...
People are going to criticize somebody that when they're catching a bunch of shit and all of their other friends who are, you know, by definition grifters suddenly switch to the Christian grift. The problem is like these fake Christians who come out here use it as a shield to hide from criticism of any kind. You know, I'm a Christian now. I don't do any of those things wrong anymore. I'm a Christian. When it's just not the truth. They're false Christians.
But I always, like, internet dated people my whole life. I was very, like, insecure growing up. I really didn't want to date people, like, in real life. I always focused on school and stuff. And I was always kind of chronically online. And so I always dated people online. So, like, I'm not going to say I never did anything bad with people online, you know. But in terms of, like, real life, like, I'm going to be honest with you. I never had sex with anyone until I met my husband. We were not married at the time. I wasn't a Christian, so I really, like I said, I didn't care. For me, it was like I knew that when I did that with someone, I was going to have to really love that person, and I didn't necessarily want to wait for marriage because, again, I wasn't religious. Like, that wasn't something
Rev
that I cared
was
about,
as big a lolicon defender as Chibi was. Yeah, I know, and it's like now they've changed over this Christian leaf, and they're getting hit by their old audience for it. It's like just. It's so fake because of the people that they're around, and they haven't changed anything meaningful in their content to match with these Christian ideals, right? It's just using that Christian angle to go at people or to defend some belief or to be able to spit out somebody else's belief over it. Yeah, let's do this to accept. All right.
Because I know myself, I will get attached and it's gonna really hurt me. Sorry, I'm not trying to get emotional. Like, I knew it would really hurt me though if I was to do that with just anybody. Not to mention the fact that I was very much was always, like I said, very insecure, and I sometimes feel like God gave me that so that I wouldn't have been promiscuous when I was younger, because I do sometimes wonder, like, if I wouldn't have been so insecure, maybe I would have, like, slept around. Maybe I would have went out and did, like, crazy stuff.
If only these fakes were around during the 30-year war, the shared disgust would unite the Catholics, Protestants against these frauds. Oh, Strawberry would definitely be burned at the stake as a witch. I mean, it's just like you're not. Again, it's not any real understanding of the Christian religion. I'm going to end up looping at this point.
You know, so sometimes I like think about that, which is like kind of off topic, I guess, but
I
don't know. But it's just interesting. It's interesting to see people call me a whore, though, just for my opinion, or say like, "Oh, for sure, slept around," and she is for sure like, you know, this is all a self-report. Maybe some of it is like I just see like broken people, and like I myself have like very much been there. Maybe not in the exact same way, but like, you know, I've had my fair share of brokenness in my life. Sorry.
I get you. Well, with what I think with that is it is a bit more nuanced with the promiscuousness, because especially
you've said that like 7 times now.
Thing, it's also a guy thing, and I think that this is my general perspective, and I think It sounds more of like a reasonable one, probably one you would agree with. There are people who do like fully save themselves and everything for marriage. And I think that is virtuous. I think that's a good thing to have in society. And I think also, especially for those types of people, it would be better for them to, be with other people who also save themselves. And I think that would even kind of be a bit more fair for them. But in terms of like promiscuousness, like it reminds me of, I don't know if you know him, but Andrew Wilson, like you might not like him or you might like him, I don't know. But he actually led a more of like, I think he led more of a promiscuous lifestyle before.
All right, Kimoji, we're going legit. I'm buying a license, 24 hours. Let's see how this goes. What I have money wise? We got to save up for an actual suit.
He slept around with people, and he got married, to a woman who was previously divorced. She even had children, but he still supports the more traditional lifestyle, saving yourself for marriage and all the rest. But he finds it perfectly fair and fine to marry those types of people, especially if you're not really any better compared to
I know.
like that. Like, should you really be expecting a virgin for marriage if you didn't save yourself for marriage as well? I mean, I think both of us would find that pretty hypocritical, right?
No, I can agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting something specifically. I think it's just more about heavily judging someone else for their decision whenever they're happy and like that couple, you know, the couple this is kind of all framed around. Like they seem very happy, like she seems very committed to him and him to her. And I just don't understand people like, you know, saying just disgusting things about them. I just don't get it.
Gotcha. Their situation's a lot more, it's a lot different compared to what people made it out to be. It wasn't like they were very promiscuous or anything like that. It seemed more like a marketing thing. We were talking about that. I don't know if
I will say the way he posted it was definitely like in some of the things he said, like when he said that his wife was more pure. I'm not necessarily saying I agree with every single thing you said, but I'm just saying overall, like, you know, in terms of their relationship and like her specifically, like just having a past.
It felt like we got clickbaited. I think we got we've been had. Yeah. We've been pinned against each other to fight over something that for nothing burger.
And I guess like one of my biggest concerns too, though, that I've seen, and it's not anything that I feel like you've said,
4,000. Yeah,
but
we gotta head back
I've
out.
seen a lot of people in comments like regarding this and just in general over the last couple of days being like, well, a whore is always a whore. And you know, you'll never change. You'll always be a whore. And it's like that's something I very much.
Well, I mean, that's fucking manosphere bullshit, right? Where whore's always a whore, and you know, a player's always going to be a player. All right, Gaxby, thanks for coming by. You know, it's just there's retarded people in this world who say things like that. They're usually low intelligence. When it comes to it, like, I mean, yes, there's an argument to be made about people like you shouldn't be ostracized because you don't want to be with an OnlyFans model, right? You want to get even worse into it. You shouldn't be ostracized because you don't think a trans female is attractive or you don't want to date one because of your morals. The people who are on the extreme saying the extreme shit do that. They're it's just low IQ statements to bring down everyone when they were, and it's usually because they're not very pure themselves.
Well,
I would hope that you would agree with that.
Well, I think it's a bit more nuanced. Look, I'm not going to be like, how do I put it? Okay. I mean, if you've seen any of my tweets, I'm pretty wild on Twitter.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know like anything about.
Well, I'm just like,
someone tagged me under your tweet.
I got you. I'm saying that because how do I put it? If you ever go back, you want to see anything I have ever said, and it's just like I do call people like I don't know if I really called anybody specifically a whore. Maybe I have. I don't know. I'm pretty antagonistic at times on Twitter with all this stuff. But my position, and I would have to give a bit of pushback, but I'm going to do so respectfully. Not going to personalize this at all. But I genuinely do think that there is a beneficial thing to that with society. Like with women who are promiscuous, I think that what is currently happening is they're trying to remove more and more consequences for an objectively immoral lifestyle. If we're just saying promiscuous behavior, or even cheating, in many instances, it really goes unpunished.
There's a difference. Like promiscuous behavior, okay, it's been around since forever. People have been doing promiscuous behavior since the beginning of time, right? If you want to argue cheating, sure, but why are we only siding with women being the problem with promiscuous behavior, right? Why aren't we going after the men too? No, you made a whole video about the women instead of a video that, you know, men and women shouldn't be as promiscuous as they were before. This is just, it's retardation because you feel a way about women having sex with more than one man, right? Which is fine. Find yourself a girl who has the same beliefs that you do. But to pretend that this is some thing that has suddenly started happening because women are doing it, is just, it's dumb. It's retarded. Oh, whoops.
And I don't believe that's healthy for society. We even had sodomy laws in the past. I think that at the bare minimum,
what does sodomy laws have to do with it?
Shame.
Like you're just jumping on shit. Where did sodomy fucking laws come from on it, right? What are we talking about? And I'm sorry, the government controlling what you do in your fucking bedroom will always be a problem to me. I don't care what my beliefs are on it, right? If you want to fucking do some of the dumb stuff that people do, tie yourself up, do whatever, you know, fine, do it. The government shouldn't have control of any of that. That's fucking, this is wild.
Which is, hey, she did sleep around and everything. Look, it's not fun because she did repent, she did change, and we do wish the best for her, but there aren't many other guardrails to help keep women from being promiscuous themselves other than using the shame, other than saying, well, she was a whore.
Why does it have to be women? Explain to me that. Because if you're a Christian, it's not just women
that did sleep around, and it does kind of follow you for the rest of your life in varying degrees.
Right. It's a part of our society that isn't equal between men and women. Women will be ostracized for sleeping with a lot of people, where a man will be rewarded by his people for it. Right. So this is something that should be equal. I'm sorry. It is just something that should be equal. Both people should be held in shame, I guess, for being promiscuous, if that's what your belief is. You're either down for it on both people, or you should be down for it for nobody. Just this is such an archaic way of thinking.
There's a bit more nuance to that, but I think that especially with how society is today, I genuinely think that's one of the only real ways we can help to prevent this type of behavior in our daughters or the next generation or people who are growing up, because we don't want this behavior. Other than that, I don't really see a lot of ways.
Why not your fucking sons? Right? Why not your sons too? Why does it have to be just your daughters? Explain that to me, Remnant.
We can safeguard against this. So I do find a utility behind that.
I mean, I just don't know if I will really 100% agree with that. I see what you're saying, I guess, but I don't know. I can't, I'm going to be honest. Obviously, I don't like what you're saying entirely. It's just that I don't know.
She can't, she's right. She's not a debater. She's not pressing him on some of these issues on why it has to be women that do this and not just men. Why are we saying that, that it has to be women, that there's this thing that's out there that women can't have sex with a lot of people because it's morally wrong. I have my agreements there, right? Even though I didn't follow them when I was younger. Why aren't men held to that same accountability, right? When if you're using the Bible as the thing that's going on with it, it should be both.
The concept of it feels like some people it's also just the way they say it. A lot of people who say things like that, I feel like they're not very they just are not very kind. I'm not saying you have to be nice and you know,
She's so
and
fucking
like condone
passive.
sin and things like that. But like, I don't know, a lot of people are like, you're a whore, you're always gonna be a stupid like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the people who have that mentality are not always behaving in the most like Christ-like ways. And hey, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm perfect, you know, like I've definitely made my fair share of mistakes, and like especially when you're getting into arguments and stuff online, it's easy to get
Oh, my
angry
bearings are
and
getting off.
maybe say things that are not the most kind or loving. But I don't know.
No, I get you with that. It, especially like on Twitter, it's very easy to like just see a lot of the
Felted, yeah.
polarizing posts. Like I even make those polarizing posts. I can understand your sentiment, which is you don't like it because it is much more antagonistic. I think you can call that out and say, hey, many of these people who are, you know, for example, just like calling random women whores or all the rest, or they're being very antagonistic towards everybody they disagree with. I'm not a personal fan of that, especially in regards to like, if you want to have real conversations or get anywhere. For Godfast, for example, he really did attack a lot of people and everything. And I think you can do better with that. That's why I'm trying not to really go after anybody specifically here. But I would have to agree with this general sentiment and what he does leads to. I could agree with much of it, like, for many of these people, especially if they're calling you a whore and you haven't done anything, it can come from a bad place. But I think we shouldn't jump to a knee-jerk reaction and disregard it or say it's bad based off of that alone. And I think, hey, they could go about it better, but I do think, like, for example, not encouraging men to marry those women, even if they have.
So why not encourage women not to marry those men? Like, what the fuck is this pathetic thing? Like, what do you mean encourage men not to marry these women? I hate to tell you, but like, we live in a society in America where you get to make the choices you want to make, good or bad. We also have something called free will and forgiveness if you're a Christian in yourself. So you get to decide to make those things. Yeah, you want to encourage it? Sure. Then you need to encourage it amongst everybody, right? Women don't have to be the moral arbiter of not having sex. Men can do it too. This is just basic intelligence, right? All right, let's try and hail the ship. This dude's retarded.
Have repented and all the rest. I think something like that, for example, it should be used as more like a last resort. You shouldn't really be seeking out these types of people. If you catch winds that maybe they have a promiscuous history, or maybe they were a prostitute, or they did sleep with a lot of people, I think people should be turned away by that.
I think that's a fair feeling to have. I guess, I don't know, I see someone in your chat said even Jesus would go to whores and tell them to sin no more. Would any guy who does that to me, would she see them as being kind? Well, first of all, I just like, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not even reading the chat right now.
Well, it's like, you know, theoretically, if a woman who has been promiscuous has stopped, I don't understand why you would continue to call her a whore.
So for that, at least with how things
Like,
are,
would you go up to a woman?
I mean,
at
that's not a
church and
bad
be like,
statement.
You're a whore? Like, or a woman who goes to your church who you know has slept around before, like, would you think it's appropriate?
If he's Christian, like I assume he is, forgiveness is a very important part of the Christian religion. Forgiveness for all sins. But no, it's got to be you can never forgive them. They will always be this and that. Like, it's your choice it's your choice to be the one to marry them or not. Well, yours and theirs if they want to be with you, right? So you get to make that, but no other decision gets to be made on that with anyone else. If the other person feels like this person has been forgiven and of all their sins and they love them, then who gives a shit? Let them fucking do their thing. Oh, hold on. No, cancel that. We got an access lock. All right. Nothing. Dude, this is another ship that looks like it's just fucking devastated. Okay, inventory. Let's get this bad boy out. Let's toggle power on. There we go. Motherboard. Pick that up. Pick that up.
Appropriate for someone to like call her a whore behind her back.
I don't think it would be fun. No, I wouldn't like to do that and everything. But my opinion is that, and you can agree or disagree with this, like, for example, legally, if you do sleep around or if you're literally a whore,
Legally.
the consequences for that are very small. And if you want to encourage or discourage behavior within a society, you have to punish it in some sort of way. I think at least the sense.
So you want it to be illegal for women to have sex with more than one man, but it's okay for the man to have sex with more than one. Like, do you see how retarded and dumb this actually sounds? Hey, guess what? You know what? The only people that we're going to ticket for speeding are fucking women because, God, you know, they can't drive. This has to be the most brain dead shit I've ever heard. On top of that, no government is going to have fucking control of anybody's body, anybody's choices that don't harm another human being. And I'm sorry, even though it's promiscuous, it doesn't harm anybody.
Sentiment a lot of men have. There are no real consequences for those types of things. For example, if...
Hope you invite Kino and possibly Remnant on the stream tomorrow. I'll reach out. I'll try to. Because we'll go over it. I wouldn't mind talking to Remnant specifically about this woman thing.
You're in a relationship with a person and you cheat on them. You just both go separate ways. Back in the time, in the Bible at least, there would be consequences. You can disagree with like the severity of some of them. I can understand that. But there were consequences and have been.
Yeah, they were stoned to death. And usually for cheating.
For most of history, consequences for that behavior, for sleeping around, for being seen as like a whore or a slut or selling yourself. But there aren't any of that. We don't have that anymore. And until that at least changes, like if we did outlaw it and these people did get punished, like, hey, a person was a whore and then she really did get punished for that, I'd be very much in favor of not, you wouldn't even need to shame them as much because you have a different deterrent. But now we don't have any sort of deterrent from it other than social shame.
So you think social shame is like the number one deterrent in changing people's like
we should social shame men and women. Absolutely.
In 2026 it would be, because there is barely any sort of legal enforcement for this immoral and promiscuous behavior. There is not much stopping me or anybody else from going around and contracting STDs and giving out STDs to other people, for example. There's not much really in place.
I mean, that's bad.
Yeah,
what are you talking?
Pretty bad.
There actually are laws, or there were laws at one point around like AIDS, because AIDS is so absolutely deadly. I don't know if those laws are still in place, but they have been there. That is something. But if you just have an itchy crotch, or you have to go get a fucking you have to go get a shot because it burns when you pee. Yeah, that's on you, bud. That's the consequences of your actions just as much as the consequence of hers, right? The pain and the inconvenience of having to do that is what causes it. You don't need a law saying so-and-so needs to go to jail. She gave me herpes. Well, you know, maybe you shouldn't fucking have slept around, right? Maybe you shouldn't have slept around.
Don't get me wrong, like I'm not someone who like enjoys like the concept of like no fault divorce and things like that. Like I'm not a fan of that. I've seen firsthand how it's hurt many people, including myself. Not that I've been divorced, but like, you know, my family and stuff. But I'm not a fan of that, obviously. I guess like for me, and some people probably think I'm naive, and that's okay. I probably am a little sometimes if I'm being honest.
Well,
but
aren't we all?
Guess like I guess like I just would love, like ideally, and I know that ideally isn't always reality, but like I would like things to change because the culture changes. And I guess like shame maybe.
Okay, she's being really softball on it, but what she's saying there is some point to it. If you don't want this thing to change, there is a cultural change that needs to be adhered to, right? You and it changes slowly. It's not going to change with the next generation. You know how you do it? You try and teach your kids right as best you can, and that could change, right? We live in a time where the internet gives everyone all of this information all of the time, porn riddled and addled personalities, but no one holds the people who, you know, do all of this, the companies that have just let this call run rampant, the governments that have just let it run rampant with no protections whatsoever put upon it. And I'm not talking about ID. I'm talking about there are other things that they could do for it. But we want to blame women apparently for being promiscuous when both sides have been promiscuous, since the beginning of time, right? We can talk about the Bible and all of that stuff all we want, but that doesn't mean that that's the way it was back then, right?
Some could argue that could play a part in the culture changing, but I just feel like, I don't know, like just sharing the gospel and like talking about how Jesus really can change your life. Like some people might hear that and they might think, okay, that's like so cheesy, but it's just true, you know? And like, I've just seen it firsthand. He's changed my heart in so many ways, and I just love him so much. And I think he's just so good, and he's just
do
like,
not
full
care.
of love,
I don't know what this has to
And
do
it's
with
not to say
anything.
that sin isn't bad. Of course sin is bad. And we should call out sin. We shouldn't, you know, coddle sin and act like it's okay. But yeah.
No, I get that.
But a big portion of calling out sin is bringing the sinners to forgiveness and saving them, not just calling them whores or shaming them or anything like that. Like shame tends not to work as well as people would like to think it does. So kind of the situation we've gotten ourselves into anyway. So when you do it one way, there can be pushback.
I mean, if you look back in the Bible, at least, we do have that mentality of, hey, God does change you. Look at how much he worked in other people's lives. But throughout a lot of human history, and especially in the Bible, we did have other active deterrents for these things. Even in the Bible, I'm pretty sure we did shame people, even while still having those laws. But like, I understand where you're coming from, because there is something that just doesn't feel right about like, hey, if a woman was promiscuous, she did then
Jesus reached out to the tax person, the tax collector, even though he was the most hated and unloved person in the village, and said that even him could seek forgiveness. He didn't shame him for his sins. He told him that he had forgiveness through him and through God.
change her life around, and she seems very genuine, and she's no longer sleeping around. It's very difficult to like want to shame that type of person and go up to them and say, oh, you're a whore. But we don't really have anything else at our disposal to discourage.
So okay, she's said that she's been forgiven, right? She said that she's been forgiven. So you continue to shame her for said forgiveness. She's reached out to God. You can only know within your own soul if you've reached out to God or not. You can't tell if anyone else has, only by their actions. But you should continue to shame her to keep her from doing that. That's what Jesus would do.
Encourage that type of behavior. At least for me, when I think of this, I could see myself in like maybe one instance actually going up to a person being like, oh, you're a whore. It would be in that maybe I had a friend, maybe there's a guy who's a friend and he wants to marry this woman. And I flat out go up to him and say, hey, look, I'm happy you both get along, but you do know about her promiscuous past, how she's seen around the town and everything. And that comes with a lot of baggage. That comes with a lot of problems with it. There are
what problems? He's yet to say this baggage, these consequences that are going to come with marrying this woman who's supposedly already been saved because she's promiscuous, right? Do you see where you're just kind of butting into someone else's life? and making choices about someone who you say has said they've been forgiven, like you have to forgive them too, right? And you're not forgiving them if you're going in and telling other people they should be cautious of them.
For these things in our lives. And that's just not going to go away. You can take that up if you want, but just know you're going to get a lot of
You can tell that these people haven't been married long, or even him maybe not being married, but that's just not how it works. In the real life, people don't fucking look into people's pasts on everything. You may talk about it here and there as, you know, part of your relationship, but outside of like someone not being saved, like you might have a friend, right? I might go up to my friend and be like, listen, man, you just started dating that girl. Just know that she's cheated on like 3 other dudes, right? That's something to look out for. But if it's not within that realm, when it's not something where there is a consensual relationship between the two of you, then what does it matter, right? If he's going to marry her and you can be like, hey man, she has cheated on a lot of people before. How's y'all's relationship doing? Maybe, but even then, it's fucking. you're not, if you know her enough that she's been forgiven. If this person has been forgiven, or well, they're always being forgiven. They've asked for forgiveness. Why are we still trying to shame them for that forgiveness because of who they might be? Why are you trying to get this guy to not date them anymore, or to ruin the relationship that they've built? Because you shouldn't, you know, marry somebody on a whim, right? That's just stupid. What's the deal here? What's the consequences that's going to happen? People talking? Fuck people. You worry about you and your family and your own and your connection with God, not fucking what some retard who says that women should be the only ones. Oh, look, there's 9mm. Should be the only ones who aren't promiscuous says about the person that you're building a relationship with.
Problems that you wouldn't with a woman who didn't sleep around, who didn't do those types of things. And I think in that instance.
And also, what are these things? Like, what are these things? Tell me what these things are. All you said is that there's consequences.
You could say flat out, hey, she's a whore. It wouldn't even be in a negative or demeaning way. It'd just be in a prescriptive way of like, hey, that just doesn't go away.
Okay, calling someone, listen, I call people whores all the time. I mean, not anymore, but in my younger years, I call people whores all the time, right? It's derogatory. It's not descriptive. It's derogatory.
You can convert, become Christian, and I believe that's great. Everybody should. But those things, especially with your body, don't just leave you, especially even psychologically. And I think just for his sake, it would be good to go up to him and say, hey, it's not going to sound fun when I say this, but she's just like a whore, and you don't want anything to do with that. And I think that you can do a lot better.
See, this guy, I don't think reads his Bible or actually believes in anything Christian, because that's just not how the Bible works. That's not how the Christian ideals work. You don't go in and decide to change the life of the forgiver, decide what they should be right or wrong in there. If she relapses and she cheats on the guy, then by all means, you know, fucking a relapse. It's not even relapse. It's not an addiction. Anyone who calls it addiction is a retard. Then that's yours. But you just going up to them and being like, oh, you know, she's kind of a treadmill. That's funny. She was a whore in her past. You know that? Well, she begged. Did she not sit down and beg forgiveness? Was she not baptized, if you're Southern Baptist like myself, in the light of God? Hasn't God forgiven her? So why shouldn't I? How am I better than God to decide that this woman is a whore and shouldn't be forgiven for her crimes?
Very good, self-respecting person. You can do a lot better than this.
I guess for me, it's just like the disconnect of like, is she still doing it, or has she stopped doing it a long time ago and now she's a different person?
It actually.
And I get you saying she still has the baggage, and like she would, And it's a fair point. And if you don't want to deal with it, you don't want to deal with it. And
It's not a fair point. It's a
But I do
retarded
think it's
point.
a different conversation, obviously.
I do remember, this is a funny little stream. I gotta just tell you what's popped up on stream. I do remember, it was the sin is sin part, because that is something, I don't know what your position more is on that, but this is something I've heard a lot from people, which is like, hey, sin is sin at the end of the day. And somebody could have had a promiscuous past, but we all are fallen before God and everything. And you can't really judge a person that severely, given we're all fallen creatures, especially if they change. But whether they have converted or changed and everything, it is very nice in regards to Christianity. But if we're just even talking about what's practical in life, a person's past behavior would be the best predictor for future behavior. People don't like it when I bring this up. You can feel free to disagree with me.
Hold on. Yeah, true. You can say that. Now, if this girl went through a lot of relationships and she never cheated in those relationships, but she, would be a whore under your nose, wouldn't that assume that if you're the one getting married to her and she's never cheated, that she is going to stay faithful to you? She's never shown a history of actually cheating on you or on anybody. So what's going on the non-Christian side? This just still doesn't make any sense.
Or dislike this example, and I'm not trying to be provocative here, but let's say you have a daughter. She comes up to you and says, I found a person that I really like. I'm in love with him. He has a very shady past. He's literally known for hitting people, but he's repented and changed, I believe. But he has a big history of that. Multiple people, family members, maybe his sister even. The notion and idea.
I don't know what they said, so I don't know how to fucking set
therefore, you shouldn't really be bringing it up. I don't think that's something would consistently hold, especially with all types of sin.
I think that's fair. I mean, I do think personally I see abuse and
there are some things in this world that are to the extreme, right? If someone is a murderer, yeah, you should assume, because that is so extreme a choice to make, that you might not want to be with that person. If they killed their wife and you're wanting to get married to them, yeah, you should consider that a reason to maybe not marry them. If they got saved and you absolutely believe they're saved, then I'm not going to question your choices in it on those sides still, right? That is, in the end of the day, your choice. I may ask, are you really sure? I may be cautious around them, right? I may threaten the person that if they do something to my daughter, they'll, face the consequences. They won't make it to jail that time. But it's not, if you're going to be a Christian, you automatically, you do have to have the forgiveness. You can still have, in a way you can be cautious in the extremes, right? If someone's a pedophile, they should be ostracized for being a pedophile for life. If someone murders someone, they ostracize for being a murderer for, life, pretty much, right? Tell me how sex is equal to that. And then tell me how women having sex is more atrocious than men having sex with a lot of people. You explain those things to me and how they match up to extreme cases like murder, then maybe we can start having a conversation. But I don't think you know how to bring those two together to match them up. It's just a false comparison.
Like, I know I've seen people trying to compare child with women who have had sex out of marriage. I think those are just two very different things, and I would say the same thing about it. But I do see your point of, like, past behavior is a good indicator of future behavior. Although I do believe people can change, I still understand, like, being cautious in those situations. And I mean, yeah, if my future daughter one day came up to me and said that, of course I'd be concerned. And I think it's fair, like you said, whenever your mom, said what she said, I think it's fair to be concerned. I just think that, I don't know, ultimately, I just feel like those are, well, obviously bad, right? Obviously. But at the same time, it's like, obviously someone sleeping around is also bad. Even, luckily it's not them necessarily punching you or something, but like, it's still not good. Like, it hurts in different ways, and it's a betrayal, and it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong to have those feelings of like I don't want to deal with that. That's it could be dangerous. It could be she could hurt me. That's fair. I guess it's just like I do think there are situations where it can work out for everyone like well.
I get that. So I wouldn't disagree with the exceptions, but my main point would be in general, like, I don't think either of us would really want our children to be those exceptions if they could avoid it. Wouldn't you agree?
No, that's fair. That is
Sure,
fair.
but ultimately, once your children become adults, it's up to their choice. It's their choice to make those mistakes. You can give advice, you can give advice and say, this, I don't necessarily agree with the path you're going down, but it's still their choice as an adult. Like deciding that you get to make the choice for another human being by taking away their rights as a human being, taking away their rights in our case as Americans is brain dead.
And also for your comment about like the sin is sin. I mean more so, and
What the hell?
honestly now I can't lie, I'm looking into Catholicism a little bit, so some of my opinions
That's
are
cool.
starting to shift a little.
Oh, I see.
I'm not entirely like converting or anything, but I have been, but it's obviously very different than like being like a Baptist or something. But I will say like all sin obviously separates us from God. I never meant it in the form of like all sin is like equal on earth. Like obviously like lying is different than murdering is different than abusing someone. I do realize that.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's more of a, I don't know. I guess it wouldn't apply to you because I don't see anything like you said. Well, I think the main part that really brought that up before was more like you aren't better than the girl who stopped doing OF just because her sin was porn, yours is pride. It was more like on that one. So like I can understand that a lot of guys were probably very, you got a lot of replies on that. 500? Wow, you've been dealing with this a lot all day, haven't you?
Oh, it's muted. It's muted. Don't worry.
No, I totally get that.
No, but I mean, and I totally get that. Like, obviously, it was, you're making a tweet. There is like a short tweet too. Like it's not gonna have all the nuance that a good conversation would have.
And I wouldn't hold
But
that
I guess,
against you. I mean, it's Twitter. We're
Right.
antagonistic by nature there. I'm not going to hold that against you.
I am trying to be less antagonistic, but I mean I will say like I get it. But I see people who, and I'm not speaking like about you necessarily. I don't really feel like you're like this, but I've seen like so many people that are straight up like, no, I'm better. Like for someone who is like genuinely repented, and again, like I know we can't see someone's heart, but like to sit here and just say like you're a better person overall, I just think that I don't know, I can't get on board with that. Like I think we're all sinners saved by God's grace. And I get that certain sins are different and have different earthly consequences, but at the end of the day, we're all sinners saved by God's grace. And I just don't think like trying to compare sins and weigh them against each other when we're all brothers and sisters, like I just don't think it's helpful.
Let me think about that. Well, I mean, so it's more like, hey, we shouldn't be acting like, let me just rephrase it, just like, repeat it back to you, make sure this is what you're saying and what you mean. We shouldn't be comparing each other and arguing back and forth on who's better. We're all sinful, and we shouldn't be holding that against each other with this. And we shouldn't be, pretentious and act like we're all high and mighty. Is that more like what you're saying?
I would say that's pretty accurate to what I'm saying.
I think, let me think. Shoot, I'm at a loss myself. Can't imagine what it must be like for you since you didn't even prepare for this.
Ooh, this is where the reactor was.
And it's like interesting though, because I feel like I say these things and everyone's like, she's a feminist liberal hippie. And I'm like, I don't feel like I am. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I feel like I am someone who I truly believe in like, God's love and grace, but also I believe in like justice and like, no offense, but like if I was some feminist, I wouldn't go on Twitter and talk about being pro-life and like, piss everyone off for that. Like,
No, I get that. I think with what a lot of them are trying to say, it's not like, how do I put it, real direct feminism. It's more of like the view that they have, it's covert. It's more like in some instances there's a bit more feminist mentality and others there are not. It gets a little bit more complicated. I forget the exact details to it all. With yours, like I haven't seen a lot of your tweets. Yours is more like I saw the whole Pride one and the interaction with Godfast and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What was it? I lost my
I stopped
trail of
interacting with him just because, you know, it
I
was
get-
it was a different kind of conversation than the one I'm having with you.
No, I get that. Like, people don't have to interact with anybody they don't want to. I fully respect that. It's like, sometimes if you think you're going to have a bad negative interaction, like I spoke to him, he's completely different in voice chat or like when you talk to him and have a
Probably,
conversation.
yeah.
But I don't blame you or hold that against you because like sometimes it feels like you're just going to be in for, what's it called? An unpleasant experience that doesn't get much from it. I totally understand that.
I don't know. I think so much of this whole conversation can get derailed whenever there are just some people that seem to be, you know, arguing in good faith, and then some people who just like, you know, I don't want to say they're not, but like whenever people just start like, I don't know, calling people whores left and right and saying things like that, I just feel like it kind of derails a lot of the conversation. If that makes sense.
No,
Or at
I
least
would
it's how
agree.
it feels to me.
No, I'd
And
agree.
I think it scares a lot of people off from having conversations because they, you know, I mean, who wants to talk to a guy who's like screaming at you and calling you a whore and a feminist?
True. I mean, yeah, there's like, I mean, I guess a bit of entertainment in that, but if you're like on the receiving end, you probably just want to go your own way and have nothing to do with it. No, I totally understand that. I think it was a good conversation. I'm really happy you came on and everything.
All right. That seems like the end of it. I think that entire fucking take was completely brain dead. This whole idea that it's all the women's fault for this, when it takes two to tango, right? When we talk about like pro-life and stuff like that, it's well, you got yourself into that situation, you had sex, so guess what? It took two. That's why. I'm sorry, it did. It's just this one side doesn't want to give accountability to the other when both sides are fucking wrong. What do we got here? Inventory. Oh, that would have been a free one. Wow. Inventory. Oh, look at that, a charger. Let's put that there for now. Oh, whoops, I meant there. Inventory. So anyways, that was the stream so far. Playing Astroneer here. Pick up. All right, let's take this back real quick. No, why are you? Okay. Put this fucking down in here. Put that there. Let's go. Go back. Let me go back real quick before I suffocate. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So we'll stop it here. Tomorrow we might watch some other stuff, the exposed video. Maybe we can get some people on who want to talk about it with Anthony. I'm not a big fan of Anthony's. I don't like his messages that he's shown where he's, you know, pushing Noah away from the point that it comes. It's just very dishonest altogether. But after that video, I'm not a real fan of Remnant either. I don't think he has some really good takes. Maybe one day I can get him on and talk to him. But for now, we're going to call it the end of the stream, guys. Thank you for coming by. If you haven't liked the stream, like the stream on the way out. Subscribe if you enjoyed the stream, and we will see you tomorrow for another stream.